Alrighty, let's get started. I'll wait for a couple minutes here while I tidy up my chaos from the last one and finish this PC build here. Get my chat running. Discord. Hey, Excerpt, what up? Yeah, I decided to do this one slightly earlier because it was like super late for anyone who, I'm in like, well, you know, I'm in West Coast Canada, so it's like everyone else in the world was like eating dinner or sleeping in the last one. So yeah, so let me get this over here so I can see people chat. I didn't get very far last time. I talked way too much, but I did salvage the parts that I needed, which I will do a quick overview so you guys know what I was doing. It's gonna be hard to get you guys on camera. I'm actually doing this horizontal now. I figured out how to not do it landscape, or how to do it portrait mode. That was nice. Because it uploads to YouTube after. I didn't actually realize it did that. It like automatically makes a video out of it. That was pretty cool. I am that new to things. Gamer Generation, what up, man? Yeah. Well, you're about to know about PCs because you're here. I just diffuse useless knowledge into the ether and people pick it up. Yeah, the last stream excerpt was yeah, there's like I don't know, there was like 20 I don't know, people came in and out, but there was like at all times pretty much 15. And I just like did it randomly. I was just like, well, I was about to build this. I was like, maybe I'll just record it because people might want to watch it. And just talk about whatever. Primarily just talked way too much. But yeah, so let me show you what I've done. So I picked up two, I'll just do a real quick re-intro to what I was doing last time and why I started doing this. So I picked up these two mini PCs here. You can see that should be good. So I picked up two mini PCs off of like refurbs from Lenovo. This is a P1 Ultra or something. They used to be called P360. It's like a super small form factor PC. This one had a 13900 in it, which is crazy. I mean, it is okay because it has a pretty big cooler and blower cooler, but it's overkill for what this is. This is meant to be like a desktop, almost like for like engineers or like graphic designers, because it has a little T1000, I guess NVIDIA like studio style GPU in there, if you can see that, which you can game on, but it's not meant for that. It's meant to basically accelerate things like video editing and that. So I bought this, and my point of this is I'm going to actually put in some small form factor GPUs and do a whole kind of video series on it. So I picked up, yeah, it's all off camera, a bunch of these different little mini PC style GPUs. This is a RTX 3050 low profile, and you'll notice there's no PCI slots on it. This goes right on here and runs off board power. So it's not going to be quite as powerful as like a normal 3050, but it's still going to be real quick. Yeah, and I actually have an RTX A1000, which I'm trying to get out of the box, but I have just like a massive amount of crap. A2000 here. I picked these. This one I picked up used locally off of a guy for, they're pretty expensive to be honest. They're not like probably something people would pick up for gaming, but they do have a lot of VRAM. This one has 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and it's probably around like a 3060 performance with more VRAM than like the smaller one. Maybe it's like a 3050, hard to say, but it's good. It's good. But they're primarily meant for, you know, engineering tasks and that. And then I also picked up this 3050, like I said, which is good. I'm going to do a comparison video. This is a T1000, and I also have this here, an RX 6400. So I'm going to have 4 of them to compare. I'm thinking about getting an Intel one. We'll see if I decide to do that. But anyways, so I stole the 13900 out of this, and I thought, I have all these random parts from things that I've been building. The CPU, I had RAM, tons of storage, other things as well. And I was like, maybe I'll just like put together like a full PC with all this stuff, right? Yeah, the Gigabyte is 4060 low profile. I haven't seen that. 4060 low pro might be new because that 3050 just shadow dropped like 3 months ago or 2 months ago. NVIDIA was just like, hey, this exists now, which is pretty cool. So I stole the 13900 out of here. I'm gonna be able to put in a 2-slot card. You can see there's 2 slots there, so I can put in the 3050 or the A2000. And I stole the CPU because it's gonna be overkill. Like a 3050 with a 13900 makes no sense. So that's that. This one here had a 13700 CPU, which is also kind of overkill because this one's a little bit even more restricted, even though it's a bigger case. This one here, you'll notice, is the same thing. It has board power, no PCI, but it's only 1 slot. So if you actually look at the back here, there's only a 1 slot. So the NVIDIA GPUs, both of them are 2 slots. So what I mean by that is physically 2 slots, right? Slot 1, slot 2. So it wouldn't actually fit in there. I wouldn't be able to get this into the system. It would set up too high. So there's only one real GPU, at least in Canada, that you can buy. It's the 6400, which is, it's all right, I guess. It's like a very 1080p card. They're not going to be doing much more than that. But it'll beat out like a integrated graphics easily. So it's going to beat out like a mini PC. Like I have all these little mini PCs over here from different brands. Some of them even have like Legion Go or ROG Ally level graphical performance, which is good. The 6400 will beat that. Just it will. But that also means that this having a 13700 was also crazy. 13700 is going to be such overkill. So I just bought this morning a 12100F, which is like an i3 but very capable for gaming. It's a quad core, and it will easily keep up with this here. So this system here is going to get the RX 6400 and a 12100. That'll be cool. The one that I put away before is going to have a 13700 and probably a 3050, which is pretty cool. And then this guy here, the system that I decided to build, is going to get an i9 13900 non-K non-F. So it's not going to run as hot, so I don't need liquid cooling and all that kind of stuff. It would be nice, but I don't need it. We'll put it that way, because it's not going to be overclocked at all. And I'm gonna have a series where I compare all these GPUs. So if you watch ETA Prime, he's like kind of an ad channel where he like advertises new stuff for different brands, and he gets a lot of these little mini GPUs, and some of them he might buy. I'm not actually sure, but he does like one to like comparisons one. He like compares that one product. I'm doing a comparison on multiple mini PCs, just compare the brands, and I'm also going to compare a bunch of these little guys. So Canada link. Yeah, it's weird. It wouldn't actually let you do that link Gamers Generation. You can throw it in Discord though, and I'll grab it later. If you can do that, that'd be sweet. I'll actually, if it's a good price, I'll pick it up. That 3050 launched at like a crazy price, and then has been on deep discounts in Canada, like 200 Canadian, which is like 150 American dollars, which is cheaper than a 3050 straight up in Canada, let alone low profile. So anyways, let's see where we're at here. So this whole thing got spurred on. I just had all these parts lying around, and I went on Memory Express, which is a local brick and mortar retailer in Calgary and East Coast Canada generally, and they had this 4080 for $1,200, and it was an extra $200 off. So it was 1,000 Canadian dollars, which would be 700 American. Yeah, it's about around 700 American dollars, maybe slightly less, probably a little bit less. It's around 30% exchange rate. And then we have really low taxes here. So this was $1,050, I think is what I paid for this here, which is crazy because a 4080 alone is like 13 or 1400 in Canada. The FE ones, the other ones can go a lot more. And this is the ROG Gamer, ROG Strix Gaming, which is like a Halo one. They also had a liquid one, like a Gigabyte Water Force, but I didn't want to buy it because this system here I'm actually just going to sell when I'm done to whoever like locally for basically what I paid, because I needed to offload all this like storage, RAM, CPUs, all this extra crap. But I didn't want to offload a water cooled system to someone, because if it breaks, then I basically gave them a liquid wet system. Blast bottles. Hey man, what's up? The smallest is in a single fan. Yeah, as long as it's board power. I mean, I'd also try even a non-board power, low profile. These systems that I'm messing with here don't have any PCI slots, but it would be cool to eventually also try some with PCI, like even just like a little 12 pin or something. That'd be kind of cool. I'm also probably going to get an Intel Arc A380 low profile, but it's a 2-slot card too, so it's taller. It's this way, so it won't fit in that really small one, but I can put it in a 2-slot case, just like the 3050 in that. The 3050 will be more powerful than an A380, but they'll be in the same realm of one another. It's not like a landslide. They're both going to be way faster than that AMD card, like vastly. Board power only. Yeah, I might look into it anyways, though. Like low power profile 4060 in general is cool because a 4060, it's not a very powerful GPU, 4060. I actually just ordered a Lenovo pre-built with a 4060, like a normal one. However, the 4060 is very efficient. It uses like no power. It's like, I don't know, 150 watts or something. It's like super low. You can put it in like a tiny ass case with like the weakest little system, as long as it physically has a thing. So, so far what I've got done, because I talked way too much, I won't do that today. I've taken out the 13900, put it in here. So this now has a 13900 in it. This motherboard is brand new. I picked it up. It's an MSI, I don't know where the box is. MSI Z790 Pro -P, I think is what it is. There was also a -S for cheaper. There was an Asus one for cheaper, but again, I'm going to sell this to somebody, and I have bias towards MSI motherboards because they're good. I've had issues with other brands. It's hit and miss with other brands, so they're not always bad. But Asus, I've had BIOS issues and like weird stuff happen. So I was like, if I get this MSI board, which I've had this before from other chipsets, I was like, it's just gonna work. So I paid an extra like 80 bucks for it. But I was like, it gets more slots for the NVMe for whoever gets it. It's just it's gonna be able to handle the 13900 non-K easily with the VRMs. This is not an overclockable chip anyways, so it'll be fine. And it's just something I can feel comfortable with someone taking. So yeah, RTX 2000, that card here, these are like $800 Canadian, like 500 American, like if you're lucky. They come with a 6GB variant as well, which is a little bit cheaper, but these are like pro cards, so they can get pretty, if it's not it, here it is, they can get pretty expensive, but if you can find them used or in eBay and that, a lot of times like people aren't ripping these things for like mining. They're probably just like for pro tasks. So that's that. I got an SSD in here. I just put in a generic MSI Spadium. I can't remember which model it is. Just like a QLC drive. I have all these SSDs here. I have like a Samsung 980 Pro OEM that I took from one of those. A Team Group 2 terabyte, which I'll probably put in after. But I'm gonna have to take out this heatsink. These are really high-end drives in here, like the P44 Pro. And I have a P41 SK Hynix. Those are like top level stuff. Actually, there's nothing in here. Yeah, so we can put this in easily. This is actually the heatsink that came with this. There was like we have a Discord that some of us hang out in, and it's like devoted to Canadian and American deals. Other people from other countries hang out too, but I don't know pricing that well in other countries. And people post deals, and this one was like I wouldn't call it price error, but it was like a really low price, especially when SSD prices were going up. They're such a pain in the ass to get them into this thing, though. Yeah, maybe I'll do this after. This take forever. I'll do it after. Maybe if I take this out and put it on top. But these are like these are a TLC drive, 2 terabytes, DRAM, good speeds, Gen 4. And that we all kind of knew that prices were going to start to go up like very, very soon. So I think a bunch of us jumped on. Yeah, I'll do this after. Pain in the ass. So Red Flag deals. Yeah, basically. I post the Discord on my channel, like YouTube channel, but it has nothing to do with my YouTube. It's just I just ran it. And it's kind of like we actually have bots and stuff that take deals from other places. Like Red Flag deals, sick deals for Americans. And we just post stuff manually, and it's pretty big. It kind of just hit like 400 people. And I only started it a few months ago. Everyone's cool there. And a lot of the people have come from other Discords. There's a lot of smart people there. So it's not just about deals. There's a lot of tech chat. People from like Legion Discords and or Asus Discords and whatever. So this case here is the Fractal Pop Air. It is dangerous, man. Like those 3 a.m. deals, trust me, we're all like hooked on like those 3 a.m. like price drop deals, like either price errors or just like you just see the price drop and you're like, oh man, I gotta get in on this. So it is very dangerous, very easy to overspend. But I think we're getting to like it's kind of a dead time right now. It's really good during actually it's probably good now because there's no deals going on right now, like garbage. So you can actually find some stuff, but it's also useful during like Black Friday times and Boxing Day in Canada and that because you actually get like It's crazy deals sometimes. So yeah, I'm chill. On camera, I'm chill. In real life, I'm a maniac. So yeah, this is a Fractal Pop Air. This is like my 4th of these. I'm just so hooked on these damn cases because they're 130 Canadian full, which is about 100 American, not even, like probably 95 bucks. This is the RGB model too, which you don't need to get it. You can spend 30 bucks less and get non-RGB. It's actually really good. Like it has enough room in here this way to get like the biggest 7900 XTs, 4090s. I have a 7900 XT, but it's for someone else, so I won't take it out. But it easily fits in here with room. You can put in 240 millimeter fans in the front to decrease noise. It won't decrease temperatures, but it'll keep it nice and cool, less noise. Lots of feed through here. And you can put an AIO on top, two fan AIO on top. Really nice. The build quality is good. It's Fractal, so the quality is good. 2 SSDs can be mounted here, 2.5 inch. Then under here, you have, these things are sick. This is actually why I bought it in the first place, because you can mount hard drives, real hard drives, in here, right? They sit there on the bottom, and there's a top one up here you probably can't see because of the contrast up there. But you can also raise this up. It has little brackets, and you can put another 2 SSDs underneath. So you can properly mount 4 SATA SSDs, 2.5 inch, right, in here, and 2 hard drives, which is sick for people who are like me. The problem is it's like a gateway drug to buying crazy amounts of storage, which I do all the time. So hopefully the person who gets this is like more moderate than I am. And then you can also, mount some more stuff. This can also come out. I forgot to show this. It can actually go up here too, which is also sick. Which is actually what I normally do. I usually mount one there. I mount one there. That just gives more room for the wires to come out and not be a big, massive mess there. SATA 2.5 is, no, it's good, man. For game drives, so I have like, this board takes 4 NVMEs, which is great for like recent stuff, fast operating system, video editing. I always do those off NVMEs, obviously, because faster is better. But for just loading games, especially like Steam, whatever, 500 megabytes a second is still pretty quick. I think in the future, soon, we're going to start seeing direct storage, and this stuff will start to get phased out for like brand new open world games, because these can't do direct storage. They're not fast enough. So, they're going to be fast for any game that exists now. You're going to have no problems. But when you get to the point you have direct storage, which is what a PS5 touts, like they're really fast storage. So you don't have load times. Like you don't have, and you're playing a game and you come up and you like open a door and then you go through a little narrow corridor and then you come out into an open world. That's a load window. Back in the day, they just had load screens. Now they do load windows because these SSDs, they're fast, but they're not like super fast. And a lot of the games are still tailored towards hard drives, unfortunately. So the games are just limited by people playing games on hard drives. We're going to get to the point now where we have direct storage off of NVMEs, Gen 4 or above, and games you're just going to be able to just run forever. Like massive world games, you're never going to have load, which will be really nice. So I think we're getting there. We need to wait for the previous PS4 and Xbox One X to basically fade. It's happening now finally, and then companies will take it serious because those have hard drives as a stock. And once those are gone, and I guess the Switch is still pretty slow technically, once those are gone, we'll be able to move into like all games utilizing fast storage. So we're on the cusp of that happening, which is awesome. Okay, so this is gonna go in. I don't know if you guys can see. I might have to bring you closer. You're actually resting on a little tower. This is like ghetto streams. I don't have like a proper setup. I have a wobbly arm. I can adjust, but it's so wobbly. And I'm gonna be bumping this table. You guys would be like vomiting the whole time. Get in here. If the mic goes weird, let me know. I'm gonna try to position it so it's looking at me. Yeah, can you see that? You probably can. Right. So let's turn around so you can actually see what the hell's going on. This will make your life easier. Okay, so that's in there now. You can see it. This case is like pretty much the full size of an ATX motherboard. So it's pretty much perfect, right? It needs a little riser there. That's good. So it's pretty much exact. There's enough room on the top to fit a AIO without being crammed in, but not much more than that really. So it's kind of like the biggest you'd want to go. So what do we got here? Did it not come with any risers? Maybe the motherboard comes with it. Let's see. The motherboard has to, otherwise I'll be sad. MSI is usually pretty good for using these. So we got that, SATA, backplate, really? NVMe thing, NVMe thing, NVMe thing. Really, there's no risers. That's kind of lame. I actually don't have any. That's actually surprising. So what I'm looking for is, I can just move them. These guys have, you know, these mounting things here. 1, 2, 3, and there's like the corner there one is kind of abandoned because of the location of the other stuff. So it might be okay. Is that the right spot? That's in the right spot. So that's there. Such bad lighting. There we go. Oh my god, so much better. That's fine. Whatever. Okay, so you can see that there. Passionate. I'm passionate. I'm always passionate. Like a Spanish man. I also just like building computers, and I don't know if I said this on the last stream, I'm trying to go desktop less for, I don't know, the foreseeable future, because I do so much laptop stuff that it'll be nice for me to understand what it's like to only use a laptop, like as a daily driver, not have any desktop. So, you know, I do that sometimes, but then like docs and that, you know, I use them, but they're not mandatory. So for me, it's nice to have like the requirement. I'm going to tilt this up so you guys can see, but I just need to get a couple screws in. It's nice for me to have the requirement to use a non-desktop computer to really understand, you know, like daily driving a laptop only. I do most of my stuff on a laptop, but there's also the times where I, you know, just go do desktop stuff for gaming, whatever. So people don't even realize. What was that? Don't realize it can butt up against the 3060 mobile. Oh, A730. Yeah, Intel's good. It's just drivers, and the desktop GPUs have a little bit of an architectural design flaw. Otherwise, like, I mean, on paper, the A770 is like almost 3080 level, right? Like technically, when you look at the paperwork and you're like, this should be almost a 3080. Really, it should. Not quite, but close. Like maybe a 3070 Ti Super. But it doesn't. It doesn't come out like that. It can. In some games, I can actually beat a 3080, but routinely, no. Routinely, it's like a really juiced up 3060. So the Intel stuff is good, I would say, for sure. But next gen could, in theory, be very good for Intel if they get their stuff, I don't know, sorted out, I guess I'd say. Basically, just have it do what it's supposed to do. Yeah, I have an ARC. So I started my channel doing random crap, and then I basically matured into Intel ARC. I got angry at LTT, was I think probably the biggest one, but just other companies. Everyone was dunking on it. They were like, please buy Intel ARC and save the GPU community pricing, and then they were like, oh, Intel sucks, but they didn't test it. They would do like a single video, and then like 9 months later do another one. So I bought one, right? Beautiful GPU. Absolutely beautiful GPU. I thought you guys were frozen there. Most aesthetic GPU ever made, in my opinion. And they're good, right? They're a little pricey now, an A770. I wouldn't buy one brand new. At the time, though, they were a good value. And an A750 that looks exactly the same is still good value. But the prices need to come down slightly. They're just getting to the point where they're a little bit too expensive. With like they beat out a 4080 easily. In most cases. Gamers Nexus just did a video on it, actually. You can watch it. But, I mean, you can get used AMD 6800s and stuff for that kind of price. sometimes new if you're lucky. And I mean, at that point, it doesn't make sense to get Intel, even though it's cool. Unless you're doing mixed tasks, like if you're doing productivity tasks, Intel beats AMD easily. It also is better at ray tracing and encoding, video encoding. So it's very mixed. It's kind of like NVIDIA Lite, but with proper amounts of VRAM is what I'd call it. It's actually closer to NVIDIA in terms of what you're getting out of it. Especially it has like XeSS, upscalers, all this kind of stuff here, but it's just the drivers aren't there yet. IMRAY salute. Riser for the motherboard in the case. Yeah, I couldn't find it. I couldn't actually find it. Oh, my dog's barking. I'm gonna close my door because he's gonna go on forever. Could be UPS with my Lenovo LOQ that was in their warehouse for a week and a half, and like lots of viewers were like, "Where the hell's your computer review?" And I was like, "It's not here. UPS is shit." Okay, so that's in there now. You can see how much room there is here, right? The 4080 is a pretty big card, but it should fit totally fine. I'm not going to have any issues there. 1X player. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have a Legion Go, which is like has a, well, as you know, has a really good CPU, 7840U, more than enough. Like, you could actually use a Legion Go or an ROG Ally as a daily driver, but you need a dock. But once you do that, you're actually good to go. The only limitation is the RAM, in my opinion. 32 gigabytes would be key, because the VRAM, the video memory, is actually taken from the system memory. So you actually lose system memory too. And those GPUs are pretty powerful, so you actually lose a lot of system memory. So for gaming, it's fine, but multitasking, it's not usually. So that's that. Motherboard's in. This is a PSU. This is an FSP Hydro something. I actually took this out of a Lenovo Legion desktop that I bought, new. I took it out, I put in a more powerful 1000 into that one because I put in, what did I put in that? 7900 XTX, I think. Sold that. That was for a video. I actually have a video on that. But this is weird because it only has, doesn't have PCI like at all. It has just the one for the CPU, and then it has an ATX 12 volt high power. They didn't actually send, like, because it came in an OEM, so it didn't come with extra cables. So the PCI, like there's 1, 2, 3, goes into a ATX 12 volt, 450. So I have to put in an NVIDIA GPU. Like I am required to, because I don't think there's any AMD that use that. So I was like, I either throw this brand new PSU in the garbage or sell it, which is very difficult to do. It's hard to sell stuff. Yeah, the Go is better in some cases because it has dual USB 4, at least in the ROG Ally. That helps a lot because you can have it charging, and then you can have one for video, or you can do a dock and then have, like, I don't know, NVMe hooked up, or hook up like a hard drive caddy type thing. You actually sit, the camera's sitting on one, a multi SSD or multi hard drive thing. So you can get a lot of storage in that. So this has this case is cool because it has a little retractable grill, I guess I'd call it, or whatever, mesh that you can use to clean stuff up. The only thing is this doesn't have screws, so I might have to, does the case come with, yeah, it does. It does have PSU screws. Otherwise, I would have been SOL. Look at that. Fractal coming in clutch. Yeah, the Ally is too small. It's a great handheld. It's just too small. 8 inches is fine, or 7 inches, sorry, is fine. But it gets to the point where it's like ever so slightly too small. For certain types of games, it's fine. But remember, these games are designed for like larger screens. So it gets to the point where it's a little bit too small. The original Steam Deck, even jumping from the original Steam Deck up to the OLED, is like that extra point. What is it? 0.8, 0.7? It's like 7. I can't remember how much bigger it is. 7.3. It's not a lot. It's like half an inch or something bigger. It makes such a difference. even on the Steam Deck. It's just enough that the text becomes like, all right, I can actually read this now. And the other thing is touching the screen, like when you're actually navigating on a Steam Deck, normal Steam Deck or an ROG Ally, it's not great. The Legion Go is like big enough that I can just like actually navigate, because you're getting into like tablet level screen size. It actually is a tablet screen. If you didn't know that, the Legion Go screen is actually borrowed from the Legion tablet, which is an 8-inch tablet. And I think it's actually the same screen, like legitimately the same screen. Which some people are upset about because it can cause issues with playing with landscape and portrait mode. I haven't had that issue, but some older games would probably freak out and be like, why is your screen sideways? You must be in the wrong way. And then your games are sideways. Yeah, the Lenovo Y700, which is a sick tablet. One of the guys on Discord imported one from China. He likes it quite a bit. The prices are pretty good. He's an Android guy. And I mean, you get such a powerful tablet at 8 inches. Usually you have to get into much larger tablets to get that kind of power. Like you got to get into, that's good, stand up. It's just not quite agreeing with me. Yeah, normally you'd have to get into like an 11-inch tablet or something like that to get, you know, flagship level SoCs that are really powerful, like Snapdragon type stuff. The 8-inch stuff usually is like garbage tier. Like e-reader level SoCs that are like barely functional. I do some tablet reviews. I do them like randomly. I actually picked up a nice Lenovo like actual P11 refurb, like China edition that we can't get over here. And not refurb, that's not the right word. It's like open, not even open box. It's like a reseller. That's the term I was looking for, reseller. And it was really powerful. It had like a Snapdragon Gen 2 in it, which is, if you don't know about mobile SoCs, that's very fast. That's like approaching the fastest phones you can get. We're at Gen 3 now, but it's like very fast. It's like getting close to iPhone 15 Pro Max level. The Xiaoshen, yeah, is it called the? Yeah, it is called the Xiaoshen tablet. Yeah, that's right. And I sold it to someone on Discord because they couldn't get it. It like immediately went back to full price. It was during that spring sale or whatever. I think it was called spring sale. And I saw it and I was like, holy crap, this is a good price. I also got that laptop, which is here. This is also a Xiaoshen, aka in English, a IdeaPad 5 Pro, 2024. OLED screen, beautiful laptop. I'm going to do a review on it, but you can't get the OLED with 32 gigabytes in that in Canada. It just doesn't exist. I got a 16-inch one that I ordered of that same laptop from Canada, but it has 16 gigabytes. We don't even have access to 32. And for what I do, 32 is a must. So, okay, so that's that there. Let's put in a SSD. I'm going to just put in a little 500. It's a 4 terabyte. Look at my hoarding problems. 4 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 4 terabyte. These are mine. I need them for a video. Yeah, also check out AliExpress today. It just started. There's another sale. I don't know what they call it. It's another spring sale. I don't know what it's called. I don't know any of this stuff. But they just put it on today. And they have like additional coupons on that. There's some pretty legit stuff on there. They have like some junk crap, but AliExpress is really legit now, honestly. Like Temu is getting to, like they're moving into the territory of what Ali used to be. AliExpress is like basically eBay. It's a little bit slower. You have to wait for ship times. And if you have like resolutions, I got an SSD that didn't ship, or it got lost, sorry. And I just got my refund. It did take 30 days. Whereas, you know, if you use Amazon, it's like, it doesn't show up, they just refund you. eBay, it doesn't show up, they just refund you. But the sellers are, if you can vet your sellers on AliExpress, which you can do, there's some like really high ranked sellers in there. It's legit. Like this computer arrived fast, good price, very well packaged. They set it up for me with English ROM. Might actually come with an English ROM, but they made sure there was no residual Chinese stuff on there. Because like I don't know how to read Mandarin. And the Xiaoshen tablet came with like a mixed Chinese English ROM. I think Chinese ROMs are 100% compatible with English. I think they're like the same. Whereas if you get like European ROMs, if they're like French or something, they're actually different. So half of those things from eBay are basically clones. Oh, the N1000? Yeah, I actually reviewed a Chewy, I think it was not the mini book, it was the core book 13. They actually sent it to me. And I gave it to my friend because his computer imploded. It was pretty good. It was like it had a what did it have in it? A 10th gen processor. No, that was not right. 12th gen processor, but it was like a 1215U, which is fine. And it had a really good screen on it, like a shockingly good screen. I'd call like Chewy to be like now getting into like legitimate off-brand. Like they're not a no-name anymore. They actually have good stuff. They're like a legitimate non-mega corpo. No, it wasn't an N95. They have that. It was an Intel 1215U, which is a fully legit i3 processor. It's got like 8 cores or something. Lots of efficiency cores, but it's good. Okay, so that's in there now. Hard drive. I'm not going to put in a hard drive for this person. They can put in their own hard drive. That's their thing. What do we have here? This is, I think, like an RGB thingy. That is the HD audio, which I'll probably feed because the motherboard should be on the bottom. So I'm going to feed HD audio probably here through. Yeah, this case doesn't have bottom feeders, does it? I thought it did. No, it doesn't. That was the Sama case that I was thinking of. Making tablets. Yeah. Yeah, the cool thing about the Chewy laptop is it had a port on the bottom. You actually flip the laptop over and there's just a thing you could unscrew and you could just slot in an NVMe like right in the bottom of the laptop. It was sick. No need to take it off. It actually took 2 NVMEs, but you could just do that. It was just a well-designed laptop. Chinese consumers, if you don't know, I have like a handful of Chinese people on the Discord, Canadians or like actually in China. And they're more, not frugal, what's the term? More aware, more critical. They are much pickier than North Americans when it comes to electronics. They don't buy into the 1080p, low refresh rate, low color range crap that we do in Canada here in the United States. You know, they need good screens on their stuff. They want good RAM. They won't even, like, they don't even sell 8 gigabyte stuff over there. It's all 32. We get 16, they get 32. And it's a huge market, right? So the companies over there don't screw around when it comes to the Chinese market. So you can get like, that company just wouldn't exist if they didn't have some like decent stuff because the Chinese consumers just wouldn't buy it, right? Like they had, Lenovo's Chinese, right? Asus is Taiwanese. Who else is Chinese? I can't remember who else is Chinese. But anyways, a lot of them are East Asian companies. So I mean, they have access to the best stuff like we do. And a lot of it's manufactured over there. They have a massive consumer base that rivals like the entire Western Hemisphere combined. So they're just not going to buy it, right? And if the company puts out like whatever garbage, no one will buy it. Over here, they're like, people are still stuck on like e-gaming, like 450 hertz refresh rate, 1080p with a 4090 in a laptop that has horrible colors. And it just like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would you get a 4080 or 4090 in a 1080p laptop? You're going to be CPU bound so bad, and it's going to run hot. So, HitPad, I've never heard of them. Yeah, but I'm getting happy about the fact that OLEDs are exploding in the West here. Like, you don't need to buy an OLED, but OLEDs and good screens on gaming laptops are like in the mainstream now. It's huge for me because it used to be like, oh, I bought this like laptop and it's sick, but the screen is garbage. And like even just for gaming, like it's like, oh, this thing looks terrible, right? Like we're actually getting to the point now where people like the G14, G16, whether they're overpriced, which they are, they're like OLED gaming laptops, right? It was pretty much Lenovo doing the OLED stuff before that, which is unfortunate. So now we're getting to the point where there's competition. Competition is key. Where the hell is this? Is it J Audio over there? It is J Audio. Why can't it be like HD Audio? So that's J Audio. I don't know if you guys have built PCs before. Back in my day, these things came like individually, and you'd have to spend 25 minutes trying to figure out which one was which. And if you lost your motherboard, like instruction manual, which you often did, and then you rebuilt the system, you were like, oh God, you could like never figure out which pins went where. So that's the audio hooked up. This is the motherboard connector. That's good. Yeah. I will warn you, I'm not like a cable management fiend. I will fix it a bit, but I'm also not like, if there's a cable out of line, the system is no longer functional and must be thrown away. It's not my thing. I also don't like mess. I'm like kind of right in the middle. Asus sometimes includes these little adapters you can connect in the front of the I/O. Yeah, those are nice. The SAMA case, I imported a SAMA case from, I guess it would be the US, Newegg. I think it was US Newegg. And it was really cool. It had like all kinds of, it had like an RGB adapter card at the bottom of the case. You could just plug in your RGB there. It was actually really well designed case. I have a video coming on that where I basically, same thing. I actually picked up a motherboard locally from a guy who had bent pins, 12th gen Intel bent pin motherboard. And I bought it off of him with RAM for a good price. Fair for him, to be honest, because it could have not worked. And then I spent, I don't know, like an hour unbending pins, which I'm no longer in my 20s. It was harder than I remembered. I was like, I can't see what I'm doing. And anyway, so I got that fixed, and then I put it in the SAMA case, did a build. I should actually publish that video. I'm just so lazy. Okay, so this is a good board because you get good VRM coverage, NVMe. It doesn't come with shields on all of them, which keeps the cost down. But you can get NVMe's with these things. Or you can buy, where did it go? It has vanished. This, like these are like Amazon specials for like PS5 normally. They're little heat sinks. I don't know, it's like $8 or something. So those are always good. Can't remember if it was a SAMA case, but I remember seeing one which 90-degree rotated layout. Could have been SAMA. They have some really like wild cases. There's some other companies too that do it, but SAMA has some really cool stuff. I've only really used their cases and keyboard. I have some keyboard reviews coming from them too. Okay, so what else do we need in here? We got our RAM in, we have our NVMe's, we have the CPU, we have the cooler, which is hooked up, but it's messy, but it is hooked up. We don't have case fans, which we'll have to do in a second, and a GPU. So let's do the case fans. I don't know where the heck they went. I'm not an RGB guy. I don't mind RGB, but a lot of people like RGB. So I decided I would add RGB. I would get the RGB case because whoever buys this might want it. And yeah, they might buy it and then be like, have to drop another 40 bucks on RGB fans. I was like, I'll just pay the 20 bucks now and get it up. I don't remember what this plugs into. I thought this plugged into the power supply. Oh, this is the RGB power. Yeah, it does go in. It goes into one of these SATA connectors. Jeez. Considering I built this case like actually 4 times, that's pathetic. Beau doesn't like added. No, there's a heart over what you said. FPS, yeah. I play at 75 FPS. I'm like a high resolution gamer. I like high resolution, and I'll use DLSS if need be, and I'll rock 75 FPS. It's the type of games that I play. I don't play a lot of competitive shooters. I play RPG style shooters, like Fallout, Starfield, or games like Witcher. Those would be like fast-paced for me. I'd consider those fast-paced, and those games at 75 are good. I do notice 60 to 75. I can notice it. It's very obvious. But after that, it's like, man, whatever. That's that. Where the heck is the... Oh, it's all tucked in here. This is a nice little thing. I'm looking down here. I can't see what I'm looking for here. Jeez, Beau. Get it together. Yeah, me too. Yeah, some people, I don't know. I don't know if it's a sensitivity thing. Maybe it's the type of games. Like if you play at 120 hertz I can notice 120 hertz if I'm playing like, I don't know, a scrolling game, like a side scrolling, like a Metroidvania style game, because the screen is moving so fast. You can notice it. But like other than that, I can't really tell. The jump to 60 is massive. From 30 to 60 is like life altering. And then 60 to 75 is huge. After that, it's like, yeah, whatever. Even 45 is like a big jump over 30. I have a Nintendo Switch that's like a non-patched one from way back, and I really like it because I can do overclocking and unlock FPS. That's primarily why I do it. You can see up here there actually is a... I didn't realize that was here. There actually is this in the RGB model. It has the controller up here for RGB. I didn't realize it had that. So that goes down. There's my dog barking again. Someone's actually probably at my door, but that's fine. I ordered a 12100, which has probably just arrived, as I mentioned earlier in the stream. Okay, so this is the fan. You go through RGB. Do they all? I think that RGB is daisy chained, but I don't know where this one's going. Oh, it's here. I guess it's just loose. So I will have to actually daisy chain this over. Let's play single. Yeah. Yeah, I play primarily. I do play like some games with other people. Like I'm playing Baldur's Gate with my younger brother and sister-in-law, which is sick. I grew up like in like the Nintendo and Super Nintendo era, so I did play games with other people, but I was always probably more of a solo gamer. It's just hard, like when you get older, it gets even harder to sync up times. But I do play like Valheim with some of my homies every now and then whenever we can figure that out. That game's also very fun. It's like a Minecraft with Vikings. So that's daisy chained to there. This is daisy chained into here. Got these daisy chains going, which should be fine. Lords. Checked out. What Lords? Manor Lords. I saw one singular trailer of it, and I put it in my follow on Steam, and I was like, I will look at this later, which I'll forget to do for like 4 months, and then it will be on sale, and I'll buy it then. I am like very much. I actually do buy. I do buy a lot of games brand new. I don't buy them for me. I buy them for the channel to test. I don't like pirating games that I use on my channel. It's just not my vibe. I keep things legit, so I buy them. So I do spy games, unfortunately, that are like brand new, and I'm like, this is so expensive. But for myself, I'm like, I'll wait for 9 months or for like $5. Because I ordered, like, I got Jedi Survivor like on launch. I got Hogwarts Legacy on launch. All these just for the channel to test them out, and they were like such broken garbage that I, yeah, for like games that I actually want to play, I'm just like, no, I'm just gonna wait. Some games I buy, like I bought Baldur's Gate 3 pre-order like years before because I knew the developer, Larian, was going to make bangers, and I'm a huge fan of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. So I was like, I'm going to like be that guy who I say you shouldn't be and support the cause. But that was the one case where I was like, if anyone's going to pull this off, then it's going to be Larian. This, I need to get the book out for... I just completely enraged that someone had the audacity to deliver. Couldn't get into Valheim. Valheim is actually good with more people, actually. It's kind of boring on your own. It's fine, but it's really cool to have like 2 buddies and just like build a base. You have to have a server, you have to pay for it. It's okay on your own, but it's like kind of lonely. It's a very lonely game to play on your own. I guess kind of like Minecraft. It's kind of lonely. So it's good. You can like, get into it. That's not what I want. You can get into it and start, just messing with stuff, but you actually feel lonely if you play by yourself, which is a really weird thing to say, but it's just, yeah. There's not a lot of like NPCs in the game. It takes place in like when you die, like Valhalla. So there's like no one around. I need to know where, there we go. So if you don't know, you always have your power connector. Your motherboard should technically have a manual. My dog is just going crazy. Can you guys hear my dog, by the way? I can make him stop if he's... What are your impressions? Oh, okay, Forbidden West. I am going to play through it. I have it. And I'm stuck in the beginning because I have all these legions and laptops that I'm testing like right now. So I can't desync my gameplay because I bought it and I was like, man, I want to get this game. And like, I just started and I was like, I'll throw these games at the legions and test them out. And I was like, but damn it, now I can't actually play the game because I need all of them to be in the same spot. So probably in like a month, I'll be able to play that game. I'm like slowly creeping forward in the game. But it's such a beautiful game too, to like also show off screens and visuals. I'm also using it for like screen testing and that. But I actually want to play the game. But yeah, that's like the issue. I guess I should probably go back and play the first one now that I'm not testing that anymore. Horizon Zero Dawn. I was using that as a test there. So I can probably go back and switch that up and actually play Zero Dawn instead now. Now that Forbidden West is like my benchmark game. But I would actually like to play it. It seems really cool. What am I doing here? This is that there. Power is over here. So those 2 are power. I don't know which way they go, but... Barely. He's fine. Another build. Let's go after... Yeah, hey, man. I'm slow. I talk way too much. If you guys ever, so I'll tell you guys, I also teach university. I'm taking this year off actually. You should see me when I teach. I'm just like, half of my lectures just like chilling with the students are like, but I'm understanding that if I talk too much, then it's my fault, not theirs. I think we're good. Everything's hooked up. That's the AT 12 volt. GPU's in. Fans are in. Fan power is in. RAM is in. I think we're cooking with gasolina. I have 20 hours in Zero Dawn. All of the benchmarks. Yeah, oh, man, if you look at my Steam playlist, playtime, I think my highest, other than Civilization, which is like 7,000 hours per title. It's like an addiction. That's like an addiction for me. I don't play that game anymore. But yeah, 3D Mark is my highest game of like any, like it's not even a game, but I just benchmark so much that 3D Mark is my number one. And then it comes down, then it's games, like the games that I test. It'll be like, yeah, Horizon, Hogwarts Legacy, which I don't even play on the PC. I play it on, I played it on PS5, but I've actually switched over to Xbox for now. So a lot of these games I actually play on console because I'm like, the problem is I can't progress too far in these games and then like mess things up, desync stuff. Baldur's Gate, I was like, I don't even care. I'm just beating it, and I just saved all my old saves from the end of the game for like the following playthroughs, and I actually lost a bunch of saves, so I had to go back and re-get them. That sucked. I was like, I had beat the game, and I needed that beaten game save because that was my benchmark game, and I was like, damn it! And I went back and I had to play like 20 hours at like end game to get right near the end of the game, which was fine. It's not like I minded. So here's the GPU. This is the like, I gotta bring you guys back. You're right up against the case now. And this is where the fun begins. The 13900 was put in last stream, so that was the spicy boy. What are your, did I miss anything else? Another build? No, we're good, cut up. So this, like I said, it's like an open box return. These cards are expensive still, 3080s, because the 3080 Super, for some reason, a normal 4080. The normal 4080 hasn't come down in price, which is weird. The 4080 Super is like cheaper, and it's basically the same card, which is weird. But they're really hard to find, the 4080 in Canada. You can buy them, but they're not at MSRP, not by a mile. Look at that. So this was 1,000 Canadian dollars, which is around 700 American, slightly less, probably 680, something like that. Very good price, depending on exchange rate, whatever. And it's just like an open box, basically, return. And I saw it on the website at 2 a.m. They never have anything like this. And I was like, I'm going to go there right when they open. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go there before they open. So I went there half an hour before, which I don't do this kind of stuff. And because I had to drop off my partner in here, so I was like, I'll just get some A&W and I'll just take a nap. So I napped in the car for 20 minutes or whatever it was. And then I went in, I bought this. I was the first person. And then there was like 10 people behind me wanting this GPU. I was like, hey, suckers. I never get anything. It's like the first time I've ever won the like lineup game. But there was also a Water Force GPU that someone got. And I think I said that earlier in the stream. That would have been sick. That was actually like 1,000 Canadian as well. But the percentage off on that card was crazy because those are like $2,000 Canadian. For Americans, that'd be about $1,500 for a Water Force cooled GPU because it has basically, the GPU is like this tiny little card that goes in where the PCI is. It would be like a little wee card here, very small, and then you add a 3-fan AIO that goes up top, which is sick. But I was actually legitimately worried about it leaking on a system that I'm going to sell to someone, and then like they have a busted ass system. Got to run. All right, yeah, see you, man. Talk to you later. Okay, so here's the GPU, the big boy. I actually had a 4080 recently. That I did a review. I need to publish these videos. I do so many videos. I tested it against the 7900 XT, and then later the 7900 GRE, and then later the 7900 XTX. The 4080 is, there's some games where it underperforms. Hogwarts Legacy, like the 7900 XT can actually beat it, which is, you know, it's the game itself. But I would say it performs between a 7900 XT and a 7900 XTX. 7900 XTX is the second fastest GPU on the market. And they're a little overpriced. 4080s are overpriced, in my opinion, because they have 16 gigabytes of VRAM and blah, 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 whatever you want to say. But if you can get them on a good price, they are a hell of a GPU, and they're very efficient too. These are a lot less watts than a 7900 XTX to get to similar performance. 7900 XTX is definitely faster, maybe 15% faster, maybe even 20, maybe not 20, probably 10 to 15% faster, but it needs a hell of a lot of watts to get there. So this is an 850 watt power supply in this system, and if I was using the AMD one, I would need probably, I would be more comfortable with 1000. Can you guys see this? Here, let me bring you. This is so awkward. The microphone. This is definitely going to fall. Look at the size of this behemoth GPU here. So you can see here, just the case, I want to show how much case clearance there is. So the Fractal Pop Air fits this GPU. The 4090 is about the same length as these, like the biggest 4090s are about the same length, but they're sometimes a little bit thicker. Oh, I just took out the wrong things. So I wasn't even paying attention. I took out the wrong slots here. The 4080 is a 3-slot GPU. So you need a fairly tall case. This model here. If you want to get a small case, you probably need to lean towards the Founders Edition. You can get those in like a small form factor case. I think this has to come out here. I'll put these back in after. So I'm going to bring you guys back now. Get you out of the camera. Just move my laptop here quickly. Everything's in the way here. There we go. I think I can get you guys a little bit higher up so you can actually see what's going on here. I have an arm that I can use, but it's so wobbly that if I bump the desk, which I will, you guys will just get ejected and you'll probably get motion sick. So let me quickly go step up for 1 second. Come on. Got my dog. I wanted to see if this arrived, which it did. So this here is a contact frame. You can see that when the stream decides to catch up. So you can actually mount this around your CPU on a 1700 LGA 1700, and it will reduce specific mounting pressure that can cause warping of the CPU and therefore decrease decrease efficiency. They're $10 Canadian, and they help with temperatures and just longevity. I'm gonna put this in. I wasn't sure if this would arrive on time, and it did, so that's perfect. That's kind of why I wanted to go check that. So I'm gonna put this in and I'll show you that thing. Hell yeah. It's funny because I rip on NVIDIA all the time for their pricing, because their pricing is like criminal for what you get. Like a 7900 XTX is objectively a better GPU unless you do AI, because it does ray tracing like a 4070 Ti, basically. It'll match a 4070 Ti in ray tracing. It will easily beat a 4080 in raster, like by far. It's cheaper by like 20 to 30%, right? So it is a better buy for most people. However, there is still something very nice about NVIDIA. Like there's like a premium feeling to it. And I think I'm brainwashed because I grew up when NVIDIA was really the only thing. Like NVIDIA, AMD kind of, in the beginning it was AMD. NVIDIA like was shit. It didn't exist. Then it switched. NVIDIA became like in the like 60, 70 series, 80 series, whatever. It was like really only NVIDIA. AMD really didn't have much going on. And then AMD came back with the like, or I'd say like the RX 480, but really the 580 was where things came back. NVIDIA had the GTX 1060, and AMD had that 580, which was just such a better GPU, and it has way more legs. But there's still that like brainwashed element of, I'm just like, NVIDIA is still cool. I don't care about the brand. I only care about, yeah. So depending on what you, oh, it's Met Prism. How's it going, man? Yeah, so like, as you know, that was really interesting. So Met Prism in the chat, like me, was like an early Intel Arc adopter. So we've been like in the weeds of this damn Intel, like hoping for it, because Intel's like, it's so close to being perfect. And then they just blotched it. And what I mean by that is like it does RT very well. Shockingly, he's an RT guy. He does a lot of RT ray tracing stuff. He's very good at like getting the best RT out of stuff. And NVIDIA, Intel's really good at it. Like it's actually very good at ray tracing. It has like native RT cores. It has XeSS, depending on the game. The raw on paper specifications of the A770 is very impressive. It should be like a 3070 Ti Super, or like a 3080 with more VRAM, but like not quite as fast. But it's not. Like it's just architecturally they made a mistake. But I think that really does set things up for next gen, where people who are looking for something in between AMD and Intel, like they want more ray tracing than AMD can offer. Because with AMD, you do have to shop up the stack. Like you have to get at least a 7800 XT to get ray tracing, if not a 7900 GRE, if you want to do it seriously. Whereas in NVIDIA, you can shop down the stack and get ray tracing. Intel, it is down the stack, and it does very good at ray tracing, shockingly well. But you know, you have to deal with, the early stuff was drivers. That's what we used to deal with. And now it's just, we've just hit the limit of the card realistically. Architecturally, they're just kind of toast. The 7900, yeah, honestly, the 7900 GRE, which I had in a system until like a few days ago, is right now the best value. It is actually a 7900M mobile GPU that you can only get in an Alienware, Dell Alienware R18, M18, 18-inch laptop. It comes with a 1080p screen, just garbage in Canada. US, I think you can get QHD. And yeah, so it's a mobile GPU that's like around 4080 laptop tier, approximately. And then it has a cooler that keeps it so cool, because it's technically a mobile chip. So any desktop cooler is going to run super efficient. And then on top of that, it has like some ray tracing capabilities, because it's kind of like a nerfed 7900 XT. Carrot Destroyer. Can't remember if it was a Sama case, but I remember seeing one which interesting. Yeah, I think it, someone else mentioned that too. I had a Sama case that I'm going to have a video on very soon, where I had like a broken motherboard with bent pins that I bought off someone locally, and I fixed it, and I put it in a Sama case. They were like, the case was like 40 bucks Canadian, which is like, I don't know, 30 American. It might have been 60 Canadian. It was like 50 bucks American, put it that way. Shockingly good value. And I was just like, wow, this is a really good, and it's straight from Newegg. So I was like, whatever, worst case, it's not a big issue. I'm going to go get that other package that I'm waiting on. I'll be back in 1 second. All right, I'm back. I thought it was the 10100 12100 that I ordered. I wanted to put it in the other thing so that the pins don't get bent. I'm here. Time to rebel, yeah. So I'm gonna actually take out the CPU cooler. Last stream, I forgot about this. I actually just put one in to a system like a week and a half ago. And then one of the people in chat last time mention. I was like, oh yeah, I should buy one. These are $10 Canadian on sale, 15 full, so 10 American or like 8 American. And what it is, I can get all this stuff out here. It is an LGA bracket. So this is graphene apparently. It's like a metal. It adds more structure than the thing that you basically pull down, you know, the little hinge, which can bend a motherboard technically. And shouldn't break anything, but the problem is when you bend your motherboard, you get less efficient contact between the cooler and the CPU. So from what I've read, and I've seen on YouTube from like random people, it actually can decrease temperatures. So this is a 13900, non-K, non-F, but it's a spicy GPU, spicy CPU. And I'm putting an air cooler on it, so any little bit of thermal boost I can get is going to be nice, but also just structurally. And it was $10, so whatever. I'm giving, like I said, I'm going to sell this system to someone locally, and if my name's on it, it has to be good. Like, I'm not putting in $7,000 parts, but I'm not going to cheap out on something just because I'm selling it. Like, I don't do this for profit, right? I just want to, this one I just want to break even, just get rid of some of my stuff. Normally I sell things locally or on Discord at a loss. Like, I'll buy a Legion laptop or an Asus or whatever. I review it, then I sell it at a loss to someone, usually 15-20% off, whatever. They get a brand new laptop, well, brand new as in it's been used for 3 days or whatever, and I get some of my money back. Then I don't have to always rely on review units. I get very few review units. Lenovo sends me stuff. Typically, I got my first ever gaming laptop from Lenovo, that 7i Slim. Every other gaming laptop I've ever reviewed before that point was mine. I bought it. They've sent me a lot of ThinkPads and stuff, which is sick. Lenovo actually identified my channel very early and started sending me stuff like ThinkPads and that, which I can't, like, I'm not going to just buy ThinkPads and stuff like that all the time. They can be expensive, right, to buy all this business stuff. And I still buy a lot of them. I buy probably more than half of the business stuff as well, but they identified that early, so that was pretty sweet of them, of Lenovo. But yeah, I'm like a non-profit at this point. I'm like donating laptops at discount to people, which is cool, I guess. Building community is really what it's at for me. Eventually, you know, I might take some generic sponsors. I don't know if I'll ever take brands. Like, I might take like HelloFresh, right? Like something that's unrelated, or, you know, like just whatever. As long as it's like uniform and I cannot be biased towards one company. I don't like the idea of taking money realistically, unless it's like a completely random, like, commercial in the middle of a video, like obvious commercial. It's like, here, let me now just cut to like a segue to our sponsor, like what's his name does, LTT, where it's like so obvious that it's a sponsorship. Like there's no nebulousness of like, is this laptop they sent him like a paid sponsorship, right? Like, I don't like that. I don't even like the idea of that. So if it's not front and forward, then you shouldn't do it. And like I said, I've never had a sponsor before. If I do have a review unit, like say Lenovo sends me one, Gigabyte actually just sent me, yeah, having to do this here. Gigabyte sent me their first ever laptop, which is sick. MSI was supposed to. We talked at CES and they just like ghosted me. I don't know. They have so much stuff going on. They're probably like, we'll deal with this guy later. But Gigabyte sent me a laptop. It was really nice too. It was a G5, kind of, oh, I forgot about this, Jesus. It was a G5, kind of like a super budget laptop, which is good because a lot of these channels cover the like Halo. Everything's Halo. Everything's super expensive. But I think Gigabyte realizes that like I buy almost everything on my channel, and I'm not a wealthy man. I don't have familial money. I am a student technically, so I'm not out here, you know, dropping mad dough on things. So I appreciate prices, is what I'm saying here. So, you know, I appreciate the fact that I can buy something and be like, this cost me my money. So if someone that I'm recommending this to is going to buy it, they have to also save money. I'm just going to show you what I did here. There we go. So that is the mounting bracket, right? I took it out. These things use that like mounting pressure. It's like if you've done a PC build, you know how nervous this makes you. It's just like the worst feeling in the world to put that down. So I need those screws. Where'd the other one go? There we go. So you salvage the screws. I wonder if the back plate fell off. It probably did. And then you put this graphene thing on here. It sits nice and perfect over top. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And it just evens out the weight, and you don't have that. So what I'm talking about here, because I'm a visual person. So what I'm talking about here is you have this, which is the normal mechanism, right? So it goes in here, and then you push this down. If you know what I'm talking about, you're pushing it down, and then you latch it in. And there's all this ring pressure around the outside of the motherboard, outside of the chip on the motherboard, which can technically warp it. And with a chip, you want to have flush on flush. So I want to have the cooler surface here as flush as possible against the CPU. If these were perfectly flat, if a CPU die was perfectly flat, 100% to the like micron, perfectly flat, and so was your CPU cooler, you wouldn't even need thermal paste because they would be touching. But that's what thermal paste is. It fills in the gaps. So imagine if your CPU is warped slightly because of too much pressure. You can put on your CPU cooler on top of that, but you're never going to get it to be flush plumb. And so you're going to get inequitable distribution of cooling. Does Tech Guy Beau know what he's talking about? I don't know, maybe. I just dropped that into the case, and I'm going to have to turn it upside down and get it now. I'm so used to magnetized screws. Pain in the butt. This is like a weird proprietary screw head that I don't think I have a thing for. So this is probably somewhat less of an issue with AMD because AMD still has like square CPUs. Probably, I mean, this could still technically help, I think, with an AMD CPU. But they are more robust, like the actual CPU is taller and thicker and more square. It's just the architecture of it. Okay, now I can't find that screw because it went inside. I'm gonna have to take that out. One more, and then I'll have to just tilt it because it fell somewhere in the case. Magnetized screwdrivers are so goated, and when you don't have them, then you are like, your brain just expects it to magnetize, and you just drop the screw. You're like, damn it! Why did you not stay attached to my screwdriver? Oh yeah, because you're not magnetized. I think it fell into the GPU, which is just the most fun. Like, I think it fell into there. Now, this is going to fall out and eject itself across the room into a corner and vanish off the face of the earth because that is how PC building goes. Just if you didn't know. Get out of there, screw. Where did you go? Oh, damn it. It fell probably somewhere really stupid. So what I'm looking for that ejected itself out of this universe is the final mounting screw there. Just literally vanished into the computer when I dropped it, which is fantastic. Now this GPU is also very tall. I don't know where it is, but I have a cool little like pillar that I put in here. This thing didn't come with the mounting thing. I'm pretty sure the ROG ones come with a mounting bracket, I guess I'd call it, to keep it from being super tall, super bendy because it's so long. But this one didn't because it was a return. Weak magnet, yeah. The LTT screwdriver is actually pretty dope. I don't normally like, I wouldn't be like buy it because it's super expensive. Yeah, shipping on it's very, very expensive, but it's a good screwdriver. And if something is good, then it deserves praise. I'm gonna go magnetize my mini screwdriver to get that out because the LTT one is chunk. And I'm worried about ejecting the screw. This looks so beefy. This 4090 is such a beefcake. It's so overkill because the 4090 and the 4090 and the 4080 actually don't run as hot as you might think. They're actually more efficient than like previous gens in some ways. But they just put on these megalith coolers on them, which is good because they run super cool. Did that actually fall into the... It did. Can you hear that? The screw fell into the... There it is. You mother... Look at you, you bastard. They wanted me to boot the system and then have a freaking screw going around inside my GPU like, why does my GPU not work? And return it. It's just straight up broken. They're like, there's a screw in your GPU. And I'd be like, how'd that get there? Can I have my money back? And they'd be like, no, get out of here. Let's put in the CPU while we're here though. CPU fan. I've also found that like some screws are like less magnetic. I don't know if they're like cheap and they put like nickel in them or something. And they're like not magnetic, and that's super annoying too. You're like, hey, look, it's metal. I'm like, why is this screw not magnetic? And you're like, ah, because it's cheap. Probably garbage. The last thing that I'm looking for is this. There you went. Funnily enough, when I did that Lenovo Legion pre-built that I beefed up and enhanced in that recently, I had one that I didn't do a video for. I had the 7900 GRE. And it was funny because I put on this same cooler, and I had to use an LGA Intel bracket for an AMD chip. It was so weird. It was just like the motherboard was ever so slightly different that the Intel one fit better than AMD. I was like, that was weird. So these guys are cool, Thermalright, because they, I don't know, they just give you a lot of extra goods, and they're super easy to mount. You probably can't see what I'm doing. I'll get this screw partially put in, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Speed, yeah, man. This is my luck. I'd literally turn it on and be like, I'm like, that sounds healthy. So, I'm like a nervous builder too. Like, not that I have any apprehension about building, but that first turn on is like such a nerve-wracking thing. Not as bad these. It's really hard to mess up a PC build now if you just take your damn time and don't smash things. But back in the day, I mean, PCs were so hard to build. Like, I was born in the 80s, mid to late 80s. Some a bit older people may know. So 90s computers were like, watch LGR's channel, Lazy Gamer, just watch him build a PC. It's like an entire day he does it, and he's like cut up when he's done. It's like blood everywhere. Nothing works. You boot it up and like there's like no drivers, and you have to like spend fucking 3 days finding drivers off OEM websites. Go to like old forums from like 1993 and read through like HTML text for like someone who posted a zip folder for a driver. And I know this pain because I grew up that era, but I also have some older PCs from the era that I'm in my closet from like Windows 93.1, Windows 95. And oh my God, getting drivers is hard. Even like from big name brands. It's such a pain in the ass. So, and I've only cut myself once on this whole thing. It was yesterday. I have one battle wound, and I think it was on a cardboard box. So you guys don't know the pain. I grew up in the darkness. Isn't that what he says? You could come out like you got to fight with your case, like fully covered in blood. Okay. I actually like old school cases. They're not good. Old school cases aren't good. They're terrible. But there's a certain appeal to like making a stealth case. I have an really beautiful aluminum case from Lian Li from actually Era Appropriate. And I have a really nice like retro system in it. But I want to get another one and like put in a stealth build. And like put in like some crate, like 4090 or something. Just like stupid. The stupidest thing ever. And just have like such a stealth build. It's like, look at this guy with his like Windows 95 computer. Not that I'd care. I'd be like, hell yeah, I have a Windows 95 computer. But then just like dunk on them. It's just horrible airflow. Just runs like garbage. Because that's how cases were back then. Oh no, you don't fall into my GPU, you bastard. You're talking about PCs, RTX cards, Legion. I'm here daily driving a Pentium to the 800. Hey man, that's not bad. That's like I don't even know if I have like the thing. I'm a ThinkPad dude. I have like a ThinkPad T4. I have a T41. What else do I have? T43, sorry. And then I have a T60, T61, etc. I have a bunch of them. And they use like old school Passmark, but they're just they're so robust for the time. And you fell in. They were so error appropriate. You could like upgrade the CPUs. I actually bought CPUs like used and put them into my ThinkPad. Isn't that crazy? All right, we're gonna do it this way. Because it came with like a base dual core T, I don't know, 2300, and you can buy like T8000s, which are like double the speed, 3 times the speed. And I swapped that in, which is super cool that you're like, you have a laptop, and it's not a big laptop. It's actually like a 14-inch laptop. And I'm swapping out the CPUs. Okay, so the only annoying thing about this GPU here is it's very squared off, and it makes getting around this corner to put in the GPU thing almost, like legitimately almost impossible. I'm gonna have to like single finger this or something. I've had a few different 4080s. The most recent one was a Zotac, and it was very rounded. And yeah, how do I get the pin? I'm gonna have to deal with that. I'll deal with that later. It has its one output, and I'm only gonna deal with it later if I can find my little riser. Which, in the mess of cleaning up, I might have put somewhere dumb. I thought it was sitting in this little, here it is. Ha 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 ha! Amazon comes to the rescue for like 10 bucks. These are cool, they're magnetized. And rather than using a support bracket, you can basically just set it under there. Is this gonna be too tall now? Because this card is so chunk. It is. God. I got all excited. I might still be able to get it to work. I actually like the idea of these because the mounting point second is here. So you actually get a nice kind of cross. It's perfect. You get a nice kind of cross. I would like it to go a little bit higher. Maybe I'll just set this washer in there. I can upgrade the CPU in mine to PGA socket. Yeah. Yeah, I did it for fun, man. Honestly, like it didn't make any sense to like actually do it objectively from like a performance standpoint, because it has like crappy ATI graphics, and it's like fine for the games that I play, but like it's not going to be limited. It's not going to add anything to what I'm doing with it. But it was just like for fun. I actually recorded a bunch of footage and lost all of it. It was super cool. I bought all these random ThinkPads off eBay and locally, and like hybridized them into this cool Frankenstein thing, and then I lost all the footage. I lost like basically 2 months of footage at one point, which is fine because I have like 700 videos to produce. Weena, hey man, what's up? Weena is like my one of my Premier Plus shoppers. He's bought like so much stuff off me. He's on the Beau discounts premium plan, just like 3M. I'm like, hey man, you want to buy this? He's like, well, not really, but because it's like cheap, sure. Just feed the addiction. Did I miss something? I thought... No. I just showed that because it was cool. Because it was an A770. It was cool. I actually did an Intel build. Legion. I have a video of it. Actually, I took a Lenovo Legion pre-built and I turned it into an all Intel machine. I sold the 3060. This system here I built... I don't know if you saw the beginning of this. So I had mini PCs, small form factor PCs that I'm messing around with for a whole video series, and one of them came with a 13900, which is crazy. So I took out the 13900 from the mini PC right here, because it doesn't need a 13900. That's crazy for this thing. Put that in the system, put a 13700 from another system into this one, and then I bought a 12100 like a few hours ago that I'm going to put in the other one. So I'm migrating stuff up the stack because like I want the video to make sense what I'm doing. No one's going to buy a mini PC with a 13900 and be like, now I'm going to put in like a 3050 low profile. It doesn't make sense. So I had all that. I had RAM sitting around. I had storage sitting around. I had a random PSU that I took from the Legion pre-built, and it's an ATX only. Like I can't do AMD. I could have got a local 7900 XTX for like cheap, very cheap. But they don't take ATX, 12 volt high power. They only take PCI. And this GPU came from that system with a 4070 Ti, and it didn't include the proper cables to do that. And I don't want to buy a random cable. This is a FSP. I could email them and be like, can you send me normal PCI cables? And I'll just use them. But I was like, it's just getting to the point of obscenity. And then last night, or the night before, I saw this on like a return clearance price at Memory Express for 1,000 Canadian dollars, which is somewhere around 700 American, slightly cheaper. And I was like, yes. So I went there first thing in the morning and got it. And I was like, now what I can do is I can build this system. I'm actually going to just sell it to someone locally. And the point is to offload. If I had to try to sell the 13,900, because I'm never trying to I'm not looking for scalper prices. I'm just trying to get my money back a little bit. And I was like, everyone's going to lowball me and they're going to try to do this. And I have to sell one by one, RAM kit, SSDs, all these, a random GPU that doesn't have PCI power, brand new, this is all brand new stuff too. So I was like, no, I'm just going to get a GPU and build a system. So this cooler is the AK620. It's by Deep Cool. It is probably the best bang for your buck of any air cooler on the market. There is no packaging in that box. It will rival a, here it is. It will rival a Deep Rock 5 Pro, brand new. Very close. The Deep Rock is a little bit quieter at low speeds. This is still quiet, but at high speeds, this is also quieter. And it's very good cooling performance. Deep Cool makes crazy good air coolers for cheap. There's also the AK500 if you want to go even cheaper. The AK320 if you want a single fan, single heat pipe. It all depends on your CPU. This is a 13900, so I needed to go pretty serious. Getting up the stack of air cooling. It's not a K, so I don't need an air cooler, a liquid cooler, but I did need to get it up the stack as much as I could. So, okay, I think we're good. I think we got a system here. How long have we been streaming for? 86 minutes. That took 20 minutes longer than I thought it would. Probably because I kept leaving the camera and wandering off. I will be back in 1 second with a monitor. Give me 1 second. Mess. I need a small monitor. Oh. I'm doing some more monitor reviews, like productivity monitors and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so I had to get the monitors off my desk to do that. And then I was like, I'm going to do this build, I'll get rid of them. And luckily I hadn't listed this to sell yet. This is a 24-inch 1440p monitor. I was worried. I have a bigger one too, but I need something that's small because I do not have a lot of space. I am a low-budget tech YouTuber. Doesn't look like a Lenovo Legion laptop. Laptop? Oh, in the corner. It's not. It's a Lenovo IdeaPad 5 Pro OLED, 14-inch with 32 gigabytes of RAM, 8845HS AMD processor, of which I imported from China off of AliExpress because in Canada we only have 32 gigabyte options, and that's not acceptable for me. I'm using it as a daily driver. I need 32 gigabytes for video editing. And yes, I will have a review on that, but I'm working on finishing up that other Legion review. I have a couple more Legion videos, reviews, comparisons, and then I'm going to have like a pro series where I compare a bunch of like those style laptops, professional style laptops. Temps are so much better since enabling Intel stock Asus BIOS. Oh, Chris, hang on. This is the weirdest monitor. It like, doesn't even have like a normal mount. Can you see that? No, you can't. Bring that down. It like actually comes with like, this is a Lenovo monitor. It like has a VESA mount, like from stock. You can't just click it in. It's so strange. So I have a bunch of productivity monitors that I'm testing out. I think I'm gonna keep this one. It cost me $100 for a 1440p, 75 hertz refresh rate productivity monitor. Let's throw it off to the side. But I need like a small monitor to mess around with stuff. So I might just put this back together, leave it back together, and just put it in. I was gonna sell it, but like, what's $100 for like? It's such a headache to set up stuff sometimes because I don't have a professional 13700. Wait, so what did you do? You came from Discord. Sounded like 10,000 things on the floor. Yeah, I have so many boxes from this stuff just shoved over there, and I'm working on monitor reviews. And monitor boxes are huge. And I always keep my stuff like tied up in a box in a corner. And then I have the Pop Air case box just sitting right there, and it just is massively in the way. So I'm just like crawling over stuff. And it's live streaming, so I don't want to take my time like cleaning up while I go. 13700K. I don't know how like underclockable this will be, and because it's a non-K, so like I know I can't really overclock. Can I underclock? I don't know. I've actually had many completely non-K, like the just straight no K no F models, and if my understanding is right, they're closer to they run at lower wattages than that, but they can still boost up in that quite a bit if they want to. So it'd be nice to know if I can like underclock undervolt. But I don't know. I don't know enough about that. Asus doesn't try to see. I'll try it. Yeah, I'm gonna actually, like you did, I'm gonna see if I can do that. I don't know if it will work. I have no idea. My experience with undervolting desktops is like 0. Any type of like modifications in desktops is 0, which is fine because I have been doing desktop stuff for years. But I just kind of leave it. I'm no pro. I'm the laptop bro. Let's be honest. There's people like Gamers Nexus who are just so much better than I could ever hope to be with desktop stuff. And they're also pretty low-key like me, so low-key is not the right word. They actually are sometimes like enraged in their videos, but they're educational and less clickbaity and knee-jerky in terms of like content. All right, so this may not work whatsoever. This is a CPU salvaged from an Intel Lenovo mini PC. Motherboard is new. RAM is from another system. GPU is a return that may work. Oh, there's the monitor working. So there's nothing in here is like used, I guess, other than the GPU being a return. It's not exactly used. Everything else is new, but it's taken from random stuff. So let's hit the power button. I feel like this is just not going to work. Just no chance. What's the time here? It's like 3 p.m. Luckily, my $500 CPU hadn't degraded much. Yeah. So it was running hot for a long time, eh? It would help if I plugged in the PSU. I actually don't know where my PSU cable is in this wasteland. This wasteland of parts. Yeah, I don't know, like Intel's weird, because like normally CPUs will protect themselves and like not get hot, but I don't know, I've been reading some stuff online and watching some Gamers Nexus and whoever else talking about Intel cooking, so I was like, normally they shouldn't. Normally with laptops you're actually more safe, because laptops, yeah, they'll get hotter, but the manufacturer can really limit things like power limits. They can just hard set it, right? So they can have a lot more control over a system. Whereas sometimes desktop stuff is like pretty free range, and it's a mix mash of parts, and so you're kind of just hoping. Like me right now. Damn. I said, like me right now. No. That probably mixed up the part. Oh, there it goes. Hell yeah. Look at that. It worked. Well within temp limits. Yeah. Interesting. Did I plug in the monitor? Yes, I did. GPU is plugged in. CPU fan's going. We'll give it a sec. Normally this memory has to train. Again, I have no idea if the GPU works, so I had nothing else to test it in. So let's see. We will find out. It's RGB. There it is. You can't really see it, but there's no RGB on those fans, and that might not be plugged into the right spot. CPU or memory has changed. Yeah. So we got post Malone. That's good. Go get keyboard. Look at that. I built a system, and the first try, it maybe worked. Maybe. I don't actually know if it worked. But it turned on after I pressed the button 3 times. Here it is. It's in here. Preparing automatic repair. Yeah, I don't have Windows, bro. I just want you to like do something. Where's my Windows USB? It's over there. Oh, and here's my mouse thing. Diagnosing your PC. Bro, you're diagnosing, I don't have a Windows system. It's a Windows system. when in doubt, always have. I actually recommend grabbing one of these. I'll show you guys. Pick up a Samsung bar USB. Where are you? These things are like, they're kind of pricey for a USB. They're like 20 bucks, but they're super fast. These have like SSD level speeds, like 500 megabytes a second. And it's so helpful when you're installing Windows, if you do it often, like I do, because you can install Windows in like legitimately seconds. Assuming your port accepts the thing. The back of my head. Are you more than Optimus 5000 release NVIDIA? Performance to watt. I don't know. So these are really good performance to watt. All the NVIDIA stuff is very good performance to watt. 4000 series is very good performance to watt. Value, whatever, that's a totally different question, but they're all good performance to watt. I don't know if NVIDIA is going to have to do what they did for 3000 series and go heavier with wattages to get the power up like AMD is doing. I think they're going to go efficiency again, more than anything, because it seems to be working for them. So I think maybe they're just going to go with efficiency mode and just keep that down. The 4090 is probably going to be a pretty decent uplift. And then, yeah, USB salesman, yeah. I don't think the mid-range stuff is going to change much. I don't even know if Intel is going to release much mid-range. I think they're going to launch the 90 series, like 5090, 5090, 5080. They'll launch those first. They probably won't do anything in the mid-range or low-range for a while because AMD is just going to dominate there with the 7800 GRE, 7800, and Intel's going to come in and try to slot themselves in the mid-range. NVIDIA, I think Jensen even said, he's like, I don't care about you mid-range, low-range people. So, yeah, I don't think he talks like that. But, yeah, I don't think they're going to do much there. I'm actually waiting on AMD to do something when it comes to laptops, because I'd like some competition. I'm a huge fan of NVIDIA laptops this year, though. NVIDIA drivers suck ass and have sucked ass since last July, which is a massive headache for me because I'm always dealing with drivers. I do recommend using studio drivers because you can overcome a lot of that. However, the actual GPUs themselves in laptops are very good. 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90 are all great. The 50, 60, and 70 are very efficient. And the 80 and 90 are very powerful, but still relatively cool. Why did that not boot to the USB when I told it to? I told you to boot to the Samsung. Jensen also said Moore's Law was dead. Yeah, and then immediately said it was too. Yeah, that's marketing talk. This is bullshit. I don't listen to CEOs. CEOs are full of shit. We'll just put it that way. I don't care who they are. Their job is to increase stocks. Just ignore them. You got to listen to the engineers, right? Like, what's his name? Steve from Gamers Nexus was talking about Intel engineers, NVIDIA engineers. I don't think he's talked to AMD. But how do I get into the BIOS on a AMD, on an MSI? I thought it was delete. Maybe it's not. This said it's not possible to jump 10% performance over 5 years. Do you say that? 10% performance, the 3000 series to 4000 series was vastly over 10%. Not in all of them, but like a 4070 is way more than 10% faster than a 3070. A 4080 is way more than 10% over a 3080, for example. So I don't know what he's talking about. Why is this? Okay, how to BIOS on MSI. I thought it was delete. Is this keyboard not working? Oh, the keyboard's not working. See, this is why Tech Guy Beau is a fucking buffoon. I didn't even have the keyboard turned on. Fantastic. Yeah, Jensen's an idiot. He's good at his job. He's got that leather jacket. He gets the sales, right? That's his job. His job is to not know the tech. His job is to not know anything. His job is to sell NVIDIA stocks. Stocks, not even products. Stocks. Here's the MSI. MSI is sick. They have such nice BIOSes. They're just like very, it's way beyond my level, but you can do some serious stuff here. 13900 detected memory size, 64 megabytes. So much overkill. It's not the fastest memory. It should run at 5600 megahertz, just like stock. I don't think I'm going to have to do any, where are you? 48, XP profile 2, 52. Oh, it's 52. No, it's 56. I might have to actually enable Expo then. XMP. Where do you do that in here? I thought it was easy. I thought there was like easy mode, memory overclocking. God damn it. Can't pull GP out of oven unless you're wearing a leather jacket. Yeah. He's like Steve Jobs, but like significantly less cool. Why is that? So it's been a while since I used MSI. I used Asus for a while. That was a nightmare. And then I did ASRock, which was weird. Is it an advanced menu? Overclocking settings. Look at me just learning. I had a MSI motherboard for a while. Here it is, XMP. No, I want it, but I want to do it myself. Auto. This RAM should go 5600. I'll do it later. 52 is fine. It's not going to blow up. It's not slow, put it that way. I don't remember. I thought there was an easy mode button. Yeah, profile XMP. Do you see it here? Like the easy one? Because it has the predetermined XMP Expo of 5600. But it won't let me change that. It's not the best RAM in the world, I just let you know. It's crucial memory. It's like more desktop productivity memory. 5600, like, I pulled it from that system. Let's just run with this for now, and I'll come back. And I'm just worried. I don't even know if it's going to be stable. So I did use this memory in a Lenovo Legion desktop for a little while. So I know it works. But it was, that thing was like underclocked memory. It ran at like 4800 because it was an Intel 12th gen. 12th gen? Yeah, it was 12th gen. And it ran at 4800. It was just like excessively, it like made the RAM slower. Cauliflower crust pizza? Or cauliflower on the pizza? I haven't checked my message. Telecom? Oh yeah, you did. You delivered my thing. Crust. Nice. Oh, so it's like a gluten-free crust. Is it fluffy and tastes like cauliflower? What you doing, computer? There it goes. I thought it was F10 to get to boot menu. I could be wrong. I'm so mixed up on like laptops. I have like 40 different laptops in my head at any given time. Nope, that wasn't the right one. Damn it. All right. Well, you're not going to be helpful. So we're going to go back to the BIOS and we're just going to change the boot sequence. There's no Windows. It's good. It's just no Windows. But I can't get it to boot to the damn USB. It detects it, but it's just being an asshole. So I'm just going to go into the BIOS and just change the boot order, which is located. Oh my God. Maybe it isn't advanced. Boot security. MFlash? Nope. OC? Nope. Boot menu. Man, what is this weird? Where's the boot menu? USB? Boot priority. Here it is. It's right in front of me. USB. That's like so much easier than I thought it would be. So that's the first one. Can you boot, you bastard? From the USB, please? I need Windows. This system, by the way, is silent. I can't hear anything. Like, obviously, it's not doing anything. But these fans, at default, are actually really quiet. These Fractal fans are actually really nice. They can go if they need to, but they're not super loud, I'd say. This thing, the AK620, it can get medium noise if it really tears, but it's typically not super loud either. Be Quiet Dark Rock Pro 5, I think it's called Pro 5, is a little bit quieter at like minimum, but once you ramp up, this is actually quieter. They kind of like, they have like a, I don't know if you can see me, they have like an X crossing grid. I do not have a Windows key, I'll have to buy one. Windows Pro, let's do Pro. It doesn't really matter. The AR120 showed you. AR120. Is that the thermal right? Is that, or is that Cooler Master? Which one did you show me? Let me look that up. Oh, the Corsair. Yeah. I might have had Windows already on this thing. I don't remember. So we're just going to go like that. Now, the reason I'm showing this rather than just, well, I mean, you guys are here. What am I going to do? Is I want to show you how fast this Samsung bar thing is. Just, they're actually really good. If this USB port is like 10 gigabit per second capable. I'm hot. I am hot. It's actually really hot in here. It's actually cold in Calgary today. It got freezing. It's normally like 15 degrees centigrade this time of year, which for the American peeps would be like 63, 64. And then sometimes it'll go up to like 30 randomly because it's like we live in the mountains shadows. We get California airflow here. But right now we have those damn Alaskans, you Americans in your Alaskan, wherever that is, stealing our land and then sending us cold air. So it's like 5 degrees here, which is like, I don't know, 6 Fahrenheit above freezing. It's actually really cold here. Yeah, I remember the fan, Chris, or the cooler. For some reason, I thought you were talking about the AK, I think it's AK120, like an air cooler by, like a really budget one with like a single fan. So I had a video where I compared, did I compare this? Yeah, I compared this one, this actual cooler to the same brand of liquid cooling. And it was the LS120, I think it is, dual fan. And I did it on a 7950 X3D. On a 79 X3D, they don't run super hot as it is in the first place. The fan was able to keep up, this fan was able to keep up pretty well. Of course, the liquid cooler was better. But the liquid cooler was also noisier. It actually, the bass noise of that liquid cooler was super irritating. It was just like this hum, like, and I think it was because it was vibrating the fan. The case, this case is not super quiet. Like it's got some metal on it, so. Oh, my voice. I thought I have a nasal voice. I do teach university, so maybe I have like, I thought I have like a nasal voice, and I definitely talk fast when I'm streaming or teaching. I guess because I want to get that data in. So, but thank you. I do appreciate it. I'll take a compliment all the time. Frost Commander, and it's really good too. Frost Commander, that sounds really familiar. I'm gonna have to look that up. Deep cool. So yeah, so watch my video on, Chris, on the Lenovo Legion upgrade. I put it out like a month ago. It's just like a boring video, but I put in the Deep Cool Assassin IV. It's this huge obelisk black cuboid, and it was so close to the edge. It was actually touching the case, but that thing was a behemoth. And it had 2 modes. You can actually switch a mode on the cooler, and it would go from quiet to loud. Quiet was more than enough for the CPU I had, like a 12700 or something. But if you put in like a 12900, you can put it into like geek mode. Commander. Thermalrate also makes really good coolers. Coolers are like, the prices, like everything in CPU space and GPU space and whatever's all over the place. I feel like cases have evolved a lot in the last few years, and coolers are like so cheap for dope ass coolers nowadays. Like you can get a really good cooler. Pushkar Chopra says 40 to 42. Yeah, Canada it doesn't get that hot. With humidity, yeah. If you're in, my province that I'm in now isn't super humid because we're in the mountain, near the mountains. We're actually right in the shadow of the mountain. So we're like Colorado. We're cold, we're warmer than Colorado, but we're like that. But in Ontario, man, it can get like, it'll be like 35 degrees Celsius plus 70 to 90% humidity. And it's like, feels like 48 and people are just like dying. Halifax is disgusting, man. I moved here from Halifax, which is, if you're American, it's by Maine and Vermont on the very coast. And it's humid all year round, even in the winter, which is kind of, it can be nice in the winter because it does keep it a little bit warmer. But in the summer, man, like it's like 20 degrees Celsius, which for Americans is like, I don't know, 70 Fahrenheit, not even hot. And you're like dripping sweat because it's actually 100% humidity. It's like Florida. Like it's like Florida. You're always hot. It doesn't even matter what's going on. You just exist outside and you're like dying. Oh, here's a trick. Show you guys this. Because Microsoft's a dick and they're like, you gotta have a Windows account to log in and install Windows. So, no, you don't. So you hit Shift F10. This pops up here. I install Windows like daily on laptops, just so you know. So, hey, King Maniac Tech, what up, man? You have a different Discord name, but I know who you are. It's 25C with 53 humidity. Halifax is 25 right now? Oh no, that's Chris who said that. Where are you at? Are you in Toronto? Are you in Toronto, Chris? I can't remember where you are. No, you're American. What am I talking about? No, you're Canadian. I can't remember where everybody's from. God, I get mixed up. I talk to so many people. And the Discord's getting so large. There's like Americans, Canadians, Indian, Chinese, lots of Indonesians. Just bringing those peeps in. You're Canadian, right? Oh, you're in London. That's where you are. Yeah, London's gross, man, because you're on the lakes. My dad lives in Lake Huron, slightly north of you. He gets cooler because he's actually on the lake, unlike London. For Americans and other people, London is basically I don't know, right across the river, right across the lake from Buffalo, basically. And so, like Buffalo, it gets obliterated by snow. On the same time, anything that hits Buffalo hits London, Ontario, and you get like 7 feet of snow, and then it's just also disgusting in the summers. It's just vile. Weenuts and half like 10 degrees. Yeah, that's like here, but it's really dry normally. But today is cold and humid here, which is like, it feels like Halifax, which is nice because I'm talking a lot, so it's like humidity in my throat. Next year, just so people know, the Discord people know, but I might be moving to the US for 1 year, and it's up in the air. Like, there's so many options of where I'm going to be going. But I'm actually like I was thinking like one of them was Seattle, which would be nice because it's warm, whatever. But I'm like banking on Tennessee now because Tennessee is apparently like warm all year. It's a little bit humid, I've heard, but it's like relatively warm. I hate winter. As a Canadian, you either love winter or you absolutely fucking hate winter. There's no in between. And I'm the type who just hates everything about winter. I hate cold. I hate snow. Because I drive. I have dogs. I have to walk them. It's just garbage. Texas would be good, but there's like 2 different Texi. There's like Eastern Texas, which is apparently also like mega humid. And then there's Western Texas. I actually I don't mind humidity and heat. Personally, I don't care. It's fine. As long as it's warm. Like I was in Florida for like a week, no problem. But the nicest weather I've ever been in was in the Nevada desert in the middle of August. Hot, super hot. Melt your shoes kind of hot. Americans, 120 degrees, 130 degrees. Canadians, 60 degrees centigrade. Hot as a motherfucker in the day. Dry though, so you can go in the shade. You can wear long sleeves and it's nice. And at night it's cool. You can sleep. I like desert weather. Calgary is almost like a desert, actually. Think of like, for Americans, think of like Oregon, basically, Utah, but not quite as warm. Very dry mountain. So San Diego, man, I was supposed to go to San Diego last summer for a wedding. So there was a wedding in Mexico City for like friends, my partner's friends and my friend. And we were going to stop off because you have to transfer. We were going to stop off in San Diego, but there was no flights from Calgary to San Diego. So we went to San Francisco, and that was a mistake. I was like, we could have went to San Diego. We went to San Francisco. Yay! During like some crazy events too, so it was just like absolute chaos. Oh, Wi-Fi. I don't know if this thing will come with Wi-Fi drivers. My router is like in my head, right behind me. It doesn't have Wi-Fi drivers. Nope. I do have an Ethernet cable right here. Hot chocolate, sledding, ski. Winter has its appeals, Mr. Jones. Around Christmas. Christmas is a magical time of year. Doesn't matter if you're religious or not. Doesn't matter whatever. If you're Canadian, American, European, or you're not any of those and it's not part of your tradition, Christmas is sick. But then Christmas ends. And you have January, which is like kind of bad. And then you have February. And it's like just depression. And then it starts to get warm. My happiest time, I prefer summer more than anything. But my happiest time of the year is the spring because it means summer's coming. So like right now, like April, May is like so nice for me because it's just like, I know that I have months. I'm a sunshine guy. Calgary is the sunniest city in Canada, like by far. We have like 360 days of sun a year, but I also love sunshine. So having the sun go down early sucks. And the more north you are, the longer the summer days are. Like it gets dark here at like 10:30 p.m. in the summer, but it also means that in the winter, your nights are longer. and your days are shorter. Poopy land of California. Yeah, San Francisco, it smelled like urine. Like the entirety of it. The entire city smelled like urine. There were some nice areas though. Up in the water, the northeast side, there's like a hipster zone. And there's some like really nice gardens up there, across from Alcatraz, basically. It was actually really nice. But the downtown was really ghetto. I mean, I spent time in Toronto. I shouldn't be talking shit. Toronto's a dump. What is this widget thing? All right, so I think we're like the system is good, but I will do some runs, some Cinebench. I'm really curious about Cinebench because I've never used a 13900 like normal before. So let's do that on stream together. There's like no drivers on this computer, so it's probably going to give a bad score, but I'm just kind of curious. Hopefully you'll be receiving your Best Buy mail today or tomorrow. Yeah. Some spots are good. So much of it's meh. Not a good price. January is like the gray time. Oh man, Halifax? Fuck. The nice thing about winter in Halifax is it's around 0. What do you mean, no connection? It's around 0 all the time. So the snow melts, but the thing is, because it's around 0 and it's on the ocean, it snows like crazy. And you don't see sunshine between, honestly, like October and June. Halifax's sunny days are like, actually, no exaggeration, considered severely overcast for Calgary. So it was really nice to get out there. But there is something nice about the ocean. Smelling it, being near it, it is very calming. And your skin looks good because you get that salty air, humid air. Something's nice about the ocean. Mountains are nice too, but they're mountains. Slushy time is, yeah. And the crazy thing about Halifax, I'm sure like some Americans, if you're like Eastern in the US, you know, there's like this aversion to getting snow tires if it's like a slightly warmer area of the country, like Maine, Halifax, Nova Scotia, where it doesn't really stay, it melts. So just no one rocks snow tires. So it snows and everyone's just like in the ditch, like constantly. It's insane. Whereas actually Ontario's pretty bad too. You get a lot of that in Ontario too. People on the 401, just no snow tires. 140 kilometers an hour, which is like 110 miles an hour, just ripping in the snow with bald ass tires. Yeah, 71 is like pretty ideal. It was that yesterday here. And then today it's just like, nope, it's cold now. It's winter. And you can actually track the weather coming down from Alaska along the Rocky Mountains on the east side, where we are, down into us, hitting Calgary, and then probably going down into Colorado and obliterating Colorado too. It actually snowed. It's above 0. Like it's not freezing. But it was like snowing and like melting. But Cinebench never installs. Look at this piece of crap. It's just like such, the Microsoft Store is such trash. And then if you install Cinebench elsewhere, it's just like full of spyware. Just do it. Half of my like reviewing stuff is dealing with NVIDIA drivers and like installing crap. That's like 80% of the review process is just staring at your computer screen. Okay, whatever. We'll do your thing. Yeah, man. These Samsung, because I install Windows, like I'm talking at least once a week on a computer, because I do fresh installs. After I'm done with them, I send them back, fresh install. Sometimes I reset them. If I'm selling something to someone, I always do a fresh install, clean it up, put new drivers on them. And it's like the whole process of installing Windows is actually like 1 minute. I should have like a script, but I hate coding. My PhD involves coding, and when I did my undergrad, I did my undergrad in like environmental geography and social geography, GIS, mainly GIS, and I hate coding. And I was like, I will never do coding. And then my master's was all coding in R and Java. And then I was like, oh, fuck, I'm done. Okay. And then I was like, I'm never doing coding again. And I started a PhD, it's all coding. I was like, fucking hell, I hate coding. And it's because I have to do it. I'm sure if I like didn't have to do it, I'd be like, cool, I can like streamline these processes. But I don't have attention to detail for like, I don't have ADD, but I have like scanner brain. So I'm always scanning stuff. So I always miss like a semicolon. And I'm just like, no, I missed a semicolon. It's like 4 days of trying to troubleshoot. Yeah, this whole AI stuff, like Copilot and that is gonna like take over the world. I teach, like I told you, I teach university. These kids think they're smooth and think we can't detect your like AI written ass papers, but it's so obvious. It's either too good, no grammatical errors like that, or it's really bad. It doesn't make sense because AI is like confident. It's like I am right because I'm AI, and it's like you're completely wrong. Everything you said is wrong, but it was presented as facts. Okay, so our idle temperatures here. That is so cool. 28 degrees on the CPU. I mean, it's not doing anything. It is updating actually. Very cool on the 13900. The 13900 is basically a non-overclockable, lower base wattage version of the 13900K. Sitting at 4 watts. Yeah. It can boost if it wants, but you can't overclock it like at all. At least I don't think you can. But it can boost up if it needs to. GPU's running cool. These 40 are just so overkill. We're at like 40 degrees. Beau is future. You're saying our future is cyberpunk? So there's two futures. There's cyberpunk future, which is dope. Horrible, but dope. Like I said, I like Las Vegas, so I'll move to Las Vegas. I will get a robot body, and I'll become Adam Smasher and just murder everybody. Or become like a paladin version and just like the anti-crime, like RoboCop kind of guy. Or we will turn into the Matrix and become fuel for AI. Or Terminator is probably the most likely. We'll turn into the Terminator future without Arnold Schwarzenegger, so it will be way less cool. Cyberpunk is like a good outcome. Gotta hop. Oh yeah, I'll talk to you later, man. See you later. Cloud GPT. I used GPT for a bit when it first came out. You can still tell, man. Actually, I will tell you the honest truth. Bing AI is better for academic papers because it will search academic papers actively, whereas ChatGPT is all like logged data, if I understand correctly. Whereas Bing will go out and like scour papers and it will create reference lists, and it's actually better at academia. I don't know about other stuff. But yeah, push cart. I actually encourage my students to use Wikipedia. I tell them get Wikipedia, start your entire paper outline using Wikipedia, your project, go through the Wikipedia, get a basic understanding of the material, which is what a lecture does, right? It gives you the basic understanding of it. Go through the references on Wikipedia, because a lot of times there's good stuff in there. Professionals often moderate Wikipedia. You can't use it in a paper, but you can use it as a resource. Then after you've done that, then you can, read textbooks, read papers, that kind of stuff. But it's always good to get the base level, like populist level education tool, which is Wikipedia. I'm very pro Wikipedia. So these are real Cinebench score. Yeah, so holy crap, 35,000. I recently did a benchmark on a 7900 Legion, not 7900 extra, 7900. It was about 30,000. Intel always does better at Cinebench because it has those efficiency cores, which kind of inflate the scores. In gaming, it can actually make it worse. But for productivity tasks, Intel does do very well. This 13900 is good. So let's check the temps now. We're about 4 runs done. Using referencing on Wikipedia is like the savior for your undergrad. Yeah, man. My master's and my PhD. Not so much PhD. PhD, you need to really know what you're talking about. But master's, I used it a lot too. CPU is at 99. Yeah, we're getting throttling. Yeah, we're getting throttling. So 100. So people may say throttling is bad. Throttling is not bad. But if you can not throttle, if you can have better cooling, you will get better scores. So if I could bring this temperature down slightly more, those temperatures would go down and the Cinebench would go up because you don't get throttling, right? So it can run the clocks at a higher wattage and frequency, where the frequency up here, 4.5. We're still locked at 4.3, 4.4, 4.5 gigahertz, very fast. It can get up, you can see here 5.5, 5.2, but I would need a beefier cooler. But if I put in, like a liquid cooler, this thing would probably never throttle under liquid cooler, unless it boosts more aggressively. I didn't realize that the non-K boosted that much, but the non-K can boost, as you can see. If it wants to boost, it can. It's just you can't play with the clocks that much. You can't undervolt like you can with a K, but the raw boosting, you can see it's boosting up like crazy, right? Wattages, I was trying to find, 200 watts, right? It can get up to 300. It can boost up if it needs to, just like the K SKU. But I like at stock, it's not going to be as quick. But again, I'm using an air cooler here, so. And imagine this CPU in that little tiny case. Where's this tiny thing? This was what it came with. This thing here, with a little blower. Which blowers are better than people realize, because it blows like decent amount of air, but they're noisy as hell. And there's no way I'd get remotely these kind of scores. I think I might have Cinebenched this at like 27K when I first got this system, just to make sure it worked. But I really just did it once and then put it away. So the CPU is running good. We are getting throttling, but the scores are super high. 35, almost 36,000. Super good. Okay, so that's good. The CPU is good. The cooler is working. I use a pretty good paste in there. I use Thermalright TF8, which in my opinion is the best like all-rounder paste. It comes out very thick. You have to spread it. It does not dry out. You can use this stuff for years. Very good on laptops specifically because it's thick and it doesn't dry out. It's actually better on laptops than like a Noctua, which I also have. You could use like Thermal Grizzly and probably bring those temps down, but Thermal Grizzly dries out and you have to replace it all the time, especially on a hot CPU. So, and I'm not doing liquid metal, obviously. I could use PTM 7950, but typically PTM 7950 is good for laptops. It's a phase change material that comes as almost like a paste. It's in like a pad format, almost a pad, almost a paste in between. You put it on and then you run some heat cycles and it actually dries out and becomes solid-like material you can chip off, and it outperforms any paste on the market. Will not outperform liquid metal, but it will outperform any paste. However, on desktops, there's such massive cooling that usually it's not going to make a huge difference. It probably would, but not a huge difference, because you're usually limited by the actual physical fans on these things. Like how many heat pipes do you have? How many fans do you have? And the case itself. So I use it on laptops a lot because they're restricted though. Okay, so let's get the NVIDIA drivers. MSI actually has some pretty good auto stuff. It can never, oh my God, Adobe, no. Dropbox, no. MSI Center is good. I didn't even install the Intel chipset drivers, by the way. That may actually help. I just wanted to make sure it worked. Norton 360, look at that sneaky bastard in there. IDA 64, sure, I was going to use that anyways. MSI wallpaper, yeah, okay, cool. Let that go, and then while that does this thing, I'm going to use the NVIDIA. Do I want to use the beta software, or do I want to use direct download? Let's try the beta software, because I'll show you guys it. It's actually pretty good. NVIDIA's like such a shit company, but then like sometimes they do stuff and you're like, all right, you're listening. It only took you 20 years. They make good GPUs though. It's like, it's unfortunate because they do make very good GPUs, but they're just such a, I mean, they're a corporation. What am I complaining about? They're making AI. They make bazillions of dollars off AI. So they're semi-abandoning the gamer market. They're not abandoning it, but it's secondary. But that's what a corporation does, right? They're going to make 5,000 times as much money in AI. They're going to focus on that. All right, man. Have a good night. I'll talk to you later. And WeNut as well. So the NVIDIA beta software, if you're getting NVIDIA drivers issues, which I've been having a lot of NVIDIA driver issues on these laptops these days and desktops, because they're putting out half-baked drivers. The game-ready drivers are by definition kind of beta in the first place, because they're meant to be put out right when a game launches, right before, so you get maximum game performance. So, you know, you take your game from like shit performance to good performance, but they are kind of beta. So if you're not playing a brand new game, I actually recommend using studio drivers. See that there? People think studio drivers will decrease your gaming performance, but they will not. What they are is they're just kind of older drivers from maybe a month ago, and they are very meticulously curated by NVIDIA because they're for professionals who use things like, where did you go? A2000. That A2000 GPU, which hasn't vanished off the face of the earth. Yeah, when you're using professional level hardware like here it is, the A2000, right? These are for people who do like AutoCAD, professional work. Like their jobs and businesses are reliant on these NVIDIA drivers working and not being pieces of crap. So the NVIDIA Studio drivers are meticulously curated by NVIDIA for professional people doing AI, video editing. I use them as well. It does just more stable, this kind of thing. And they actually give a boost to that type of performance. In gaming tasks, they do not perform worse. It's just that they are not as up to date. They're usually a month old. So let's say the brand new Star Wars game comes out, Jedi Order, I think it's called. The studio drivers will be outdated when that game comes out and probably won't be as good for a month or so. So in that case, you buy that game, you throw on the game ready drivers, and they'll be constantly updated by NVIDIA to address that game. But if you're not playing a brand new game, just rock studio drivers. And this NVIDIA beta software, you don't need an account to log in. And you can switch your drivers very easily in here. You can just go studio or, where did that go? It's up here, drivers. Studio, and you can just use the drop down. So I'm going to go studio drivers just because this is a brand new system. And I want to make sure it works well. Still have 10 people in here, wow. We've been streaming for 2 hours. I got the system built though, and it's working. And it worked on the first try. Well, I pressed the button 3 times, but I guess I'm getting to the point now where I can build a system without immediately having it just be like non-functional. I know where I mess up is what it is. So, do you guys have any questions? By the way, there's a few people here. Yeah, I work remote so I can listen while working. I've been like cutting back on my YouTube because a lot of YouTube creators are actually irritating me. Now that I do more YouTube, I kind of see some of it. There's a few who I just like are like go to for me. If they post something, I'll watch it. Gamers Nexus I watch as an educator. They're fantastic, but they're not like entertaining. Well, they can be very entertaining, but they're more like very educational. So I watch them educationally, put it in the background. And I just listen to Steve rant. He's fantastic. But I don't watch as much like content now, like just people making videos about random crap. I just find it kind of triggering. Because like it's always just kind of dumb stuff. But there's some real good ones, like LGR if you watch retro stuff. There's like some game streamers, DeForte, who you probably have no idea who he is, but he's a game streamer on Twitch that I watch. He just does retro games, super chill. Whenever I'm cooking, I throw that on. I don't watch as much TV nowadays. Like, and Netflix is like garbage these days. I still need to watch Fallout. There's a few good shows out that I need to watch, but I'm just finding like television or whatever is just like crap now. So I got YouTube's Premium. YouTube Premium is really nice because as a student, I get it for like very cheap. And I can just throw it in the background. I can still browse my phone and I can watch these chill streamers. LTT is 100% entertainment. People don't realize that. And that's why I still kind of get triggered by LTT because they are a full tech-tainment channel and tech is their like niche, I guess I'd call it. Their reviews are not very good. They review laptops and I'm like immediately triggered. They're first looks. They call them reviews, but they're not. They're first looks. If they called them first looks and did not give advice, I would be like, that's fine. But you can't call it a review if it's not a review. But they're very tech-tainment. And the LTT stuff that I do still watch is the chaotic stuff where it's like the dumb stuff where they're just going to do something that's like so random because that's what I want to watch. It's not a tech review channel anymore. It's just like Linus and Co. play with the most random crap. I really like their video where they bought all the tech off of that guy who had like a computer store and they did like gambling. That was really fun. And then they did a follow-up build video. That was really fun. And I do watch the WAN show sometimes. And it's a lot to sit down and listen to the WAN show because it's like 3 hours. But I've started approaching LTT from like a pure entertainment. And so it doesn't trigger me anymore. Because I'm like, they are just entertainment. They're just entertainment. And they do a very good job of it. For tech information, I still watch Gamers Nexus primarily. For other laptops, you guys, I'm sure you know who he is, but Jared's Tech is 10 out of 10. He's a very comparative channel. He does laptop reviews like I do, differently, totally different. Not as much user level. He doesn't really like record himself playing with it. But he is very thorough, and he does a lot of comparisons of one laptop to another laptop to another. And I actually go through his stuff. Like I referenced his 4080 versus 4090 video recently. He's very good. There's a few others. Lisa Mobile Tech Review. She's a first look channel, but very good at what she does. She looks at it. She doesn't get in there and be like, this is the best laptop ever, and here's my experience with it, and you should buy it. She just first look everything. Very meticulous with what she does. She's very good. All right. That apparently didn't, here it is, IDA 64. J2 Sense, I don't actually just it's just not recommended to me, which is weird. YouTube gets in these like moods where it recommends stuff to you. And then like you just don't see people's stuff. Even like channels you subscribe to. I'll let you guys know, don't use your home channel on YouTube because YouTube is curating stuff and it's hiding so much good stuff from you. Subscribe to the channels that you want. When you open up your YouTube app, go to the subscriptions pan and scroll through and see what your favorite people have posted. Because I've missed amazing videos from channels that I'm like following all the time because YouTube doesn't recommend them. So I always do the subscriptions. It's also good for your creators too because you'll see their stuff and it helps them with their channel. I don't know, metrics. I don't want to do that. Oh, item. I'm thinking Furmark. Jeez. Furmark. We can do some time spy scores, but we'll just blast this GPU. Who else has a good channel? I don't know. I watch like retro game stuff, like history stuff. Yeah, I'm kind of like old. Look how Bing is just like, I refuse. Just refuse to be internet. What do we want here? Let's get Furmark, which will just obliterate the GPU. What other channels do you guys watch if you're able to type? I'm curious. We're going to do this. This is probably the last test I need to do. I just want to make sure that the GPU doesn't implode. So I just want to blast it. I was going to do Time Spy, but whatever. This is more demanding on the GPU. Also, if you can see in the system, there's no RGB. I totally didn't hook up the RGB correctly. You can control the RGB through MSI, but normally it's on by default. I think I completely didn't put, yeah, I didn't plug the RGB into the motherboard. So while this, yeah, I want to keep it. Yeah, why am I having to say keep it 5 times? Microsoft, you'll feed me advertisements and malware, but you won't let me get stuff manually. Let's see if I can do this without getting electrocuted. Jason, Greg Sellers, our name sounds very familiar. Why do I not know who that is? What does he do? That name sounds very familiar too. I'm sure YouTube has. It's still shocking to me that like people don't know some of the big names that or mid channels that I watch, and then vice versa. Because there's a lot. YouTube there's just so much on the YouTube. I'm sure that if everyone saw me, everyone would subscribe to my channel, right? They just don't know I exist. He tells himself as a coping mechanism. YouTube algorithms are the most mysterious, nebulous thing on the entire face of the earth. Like some of my videos will be like obviously the clickbait works. Having really dumb face on YouTube thumbnail works. I don't do dumb face, but I do face on thumbnail. It does help. There's just things you got to do, but then sometimes it's YouTube just decides to recommend stuff or doesn't. I have no idea where the RGB header is on this motherboard. It's way down there. All right, let's run this Furmark and make sure the GPU is not a piece of crap. And then I will get the RGB hooked up and then we're done. I am amazed that you guys stuck around for this long. I'm definitely not an entertaining streamer, but all right, let's do benchmark. 4080, can't do, oh, the screen doesn't do 4K. Come on, Beau. Use your brain. I have a 4K screen, but it's off camera, so. Greg Salad is an engineering grad. Interesting. Yeah, I do always appreciate channels where people have a background. Like Gamers Nexus, they obviously do their stuff. I'm not a computer engineer, but I do remote sensing, data, programming, that kind of stuff. And I just am a nerd. And it's nice to get people who are like really good at what they do. Like Gamers Nexus, like obviously they have engineering backgrounds. Jace 2 senses and IT tech. Yeah, so exactly. So they know what they're talking about. And I'm not against people who aren't tech, but they should be tech literate if they're doing tech reviews. But I'm not against people who are like not high level tech when reviewing something. You know, they review it as like a creator or something like that. But they have to be very careful with what they're saying. If you approach it as a user level review and be like, this is what I like, that's good, fine, go for it. But if you're like really try to get into the weeds of stuff. Like it's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just tough for a lot of these people to not get in over their head. And I could easily get over my head with desktop stuff. Like I'm not that, overclocking is so out of my level. Hey, look, a Furmark score of 17,000. I don't know what that means, but this thing is so quiet. I wish I could bring the fan, or here, I'm gonna bring this down. It's gonna get noisy. I'm gonna like put the microphone in the computer. That's the sound of the CPU. This RTX thing is so quiet. It's huge and overkill. So that's one of the nice things about these NVIDIA 4080s and 4090s is they're such overkill cooling that they run super cool. And what was our temperatures there on that GPU? What did we get there? There's no coil whine either. I'll bring you guys back here. Holy crap, that's really low. It hit 4. It looks like it's not getting all the temperatures properly, but 65 was our absolute peak on that GPU. That's very good. So I think we're good to go. I think this GPU, this return GPU is very good. I saved myself probably 700 Canadian dollars, if not more, which is about 500 American. It looks really cool. It's big. The 13900 I stole from another machine. I was going to sell it. It was going to be a massive pain in the butt to sell that. No need to do that. It pairs very well with this. I'll do some game tests later. And then, yeah, it looks pretty good. If I can find my USB connector, that's the only problem in this chaos. Does your lectures go on that long? Yeah, man. You can notice my voice has not faded yet. This is 2 hours we're at here, which is long, but what are we at here? Doesn't say. Yeah, 2 hours. My lectures are often 3 hours. I used to do 3-hour night class and a 3-hour morning class in the same day. And that was a brutal day. And I would run labs sometimes in between for 3 hours. Again, I'm like a tech. I do remote sensing, GIS, planning, environmental science, but it's all kind of techie stuff. So it's very hands-on. And I used to lecture for 3 hours, do like 3 hours of labs, and then do another night course. So did that just not detect my thing? That was a slow process. All right. Let's go in here. Let's load up. I have no idea. What do you guys want to see? Resident Evil 4? These are like backup games that I have. I don't want to install Steam right now. These will be like the beginning of the game, whereas my Steam games are going to be, like even the same games are going to be way further on. Resident Evil has a nice short intro, right? Resident Evil. Oh, let's do Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank looks really pretty. And it's very CPU and GPU demanding. Dragon's Dogma 2. I actually don't have that yet. Again, when I benchmark games, I buy them. I do have acquired games, but they're actually games I own. So, because I don't want to always install Steam. It's just a pain in the ass. But I like to have late game saves, and I just like to keep my channel legit. So I have like bazillions of games on Steam, but it's going to take forever to install games. So, yeah. I'm good, by the way. How are you? Caught the stream. So let's do this. Actually, we're not going to have any FPS. So let me really quickly, while I do that, I'm going to go and get MSI Afterburner. I'll just get some of the very basic stuff up. You guys can see how tedious this is every time I get a laptop to review. I do this every time. And there's like no way of like streamlining. I have like a USB that has all the programs on it. But I often just download them, so. Baldur's Gate is fantastic, but again, I actually don't have a backup version of Baldur's Gate. I only have my Steam one, and it's like endgame. I can install Steam, I guess. And Baldur's Gate is sick. I'm doing a second playthrough on my own, third playthrough on my own, actually. And my brother and sister-in-law were doing like a bit of a playthrough. It's hard because we're very desynced in terms of time zones. Baldur's Gate is great if you guys don't know because it smashes CPU and GPU at the same time. It's a very good benchmark game. It's not like a 3D action game. It is very 3D though. And it will also really slam iGPUs. If you have like a Legion Go, ROG Ally Steam Deck, it smashes the Steam Deck. Like the Steam Deck can barely play that game. Because it hits CPU and GPU at the same time. Nice, this PC is for your own. I'm going to sell it, man. So I had a extra CPU 13900 I pulled from a different machine that was going to be a pain in the butt to sell. I had extra RAM from systems. I had a random 850 watt 8M 12 volt high power supply. I had SSDs, and they're so hard to sell components one by one. And I never try to go for high prices, but people will still be like, "I'll give you $20 for that 13900." And you're like, "Bro, please stop." So I decided this popped up randomly for $1,000, the GPU, which for Americans, if you're listening, is about 600 American dollars. Fantastic for a Republic of Gamers OC model, Strix, like the highest end, one of the highest ends. So anyways, I bought it. I bought the case, I bought the motherboard, and what else did I buy? Oh, and the cooler. And I was like, I'll put together a system and I'll sell it at my cost, which is basically how much I paid for this dirt cheap GPU, everything else that I bought, the motherboard at cost, everything at cost, and then those CPUs and that for the price, the low price that I wanted to get. So it'll be cheap for someone who wants a very good CPU system. Locally, I'll just sell it. And it basically just gets rid of the stuff that was going to be a pain in the butt for me to sell. And someone's going to get a dirt cheap system that's dope, and I can feel good about it. And that's also why I didn't do a water. There was a liquid cool one of these on sale, and I didn't want to do that because I'm a man of my word. So if I sell somebody a computer and it breaks, that's going to be something I'm going to have to deal with. So I don't want to have liquid inside of a computer that I'm selling. They can deal with it. Oh, there's a bunch of stuff here. How to check if a display is sRGB. You want to check the details on the laptop tech specs, I guess I'd call it. It's very difficult to check that on your own. I can do it by eye, but I'm not normal. I'm a cartographer, like technically. I do maps for like a living. So colors are like innate to me. And I look at a lot of computers. I can tell roughly how close they are. But normally if you have, like, say you have a Lenovo, an HP, a Dell, you can go on their website, look for the technical specifications of the screen, and they'll give you an approximate range. Usually it'll say like 95% DCI-P, like usual or something like that. That's like roughly what it is. Otherwise, there's like no way of getting it. Sorry, there's a lot of questions here. But I mean, if you have contact with Lenovo Asus reps, why AMD 8000? I have only contact with Lenovo, but only their sales department, not sales department, their media department. They're going to be like, no idea, bro. And I agree with you. 16 gigabytes is not enough on the Yoga Pro. I have the IdeaPad 5 Pro Xiaoxin here left, 32 gigabytes. I imported it because it was 32 gigabytes. In China, they get 32, and in Canada and US, we often don't, because Canadians are like, we don't know what a good screen looks like and what RAM is. So they're just like selling 16 gigabyte systems. But it's slowly changing, where the market is demanding 32 gigabytes on soldered systems, at least. Slowly, we're getting more OLED screens now. We're getting more, higher refresh rates, not higher refresh, higher resolution screens. All these things that we didn't used to get are slowly creeping into the Western Hemisphere. So that's unfortunate. You got to buy, you can buy equipment for checking screens. It's way out of my price level. Hi, Iran. Hey, salam. چطور هستید؟ خوب هستید؟ Moshan. By the way, my partner is Iranian, so I speak very bad Farsi. Farsi یکمی بلدم. خیلی یکمی. I can speak bad Farsi. I can understand pretty good Farsi. I can't read it because it's Arabic script. I've been with my partner for almost 17 years. She's Iranian. And I grew up with a lot of Afghanis who speak Farsi Afghanis. So I speak, and I'm German background. I'm not actually, like, I'm Canadian, but I'm German background. And if you don't know, German and Farsi have the same grammatical structure because they're actually originated from similar languages. Persian has the same grammatical structure as German. So the grammatical layout of the languages is very similar to me, which actually makes it good for English speakers because English speakers can pick up Farsi reasonably well. The thing is, a lot of Persian words are like nouns are totally different, whereas English, German, French, Spanish, Italian, they're based on the same regions. So like some words sound almost identical, whereas in Farsi, they may have a totally different word. But Iranians also throw in a lot of English words, which is helpful. So we're going to turn off VSync. This is only a 1440p screen. I'm sorry. I have a 4K screen, but it's boxed up for, I'm going to be doing a review, and I just didn't want to get it out right now in the middle of a thing. Persian is Iranian. It's the ethnicity of Iran, because Iran is a multicultural. There's like Kurds and Arabs and is that not playing, etc. Persian is like it's the ethnicity, aka the language. In English, it's called Farsi, and in Farsi, Persian in English. Whoa, this screen has speakers, bro. What? I didn't know that. How do I turn that down? Get out of here. Sick. Did I test this screen properly? I may have to go back. I customized and ordered a 14th gen Legion 5 Pro 100% DCIP. That's a very good screen, man. Deepak, you're gonna like that screen. It looks very good, and it's approximately 100% DCIP, and it's good. It's a nice screen. I have that review coming on that video very soon. If it uses the same screen as I think, which was on the 7i Pro, you're gonna really like that screen. What is this? There it is. It's a very nice screen for IPS. If you ever do monitor reviews again, can you check out that new Dell Ultrastop? That monitor I was legitimately thinking about buying, but it's so expensive. The 4K 40 inch is a huge 5K, very wide. I just did a review of the Think Vision, like this brand here. If you watch that review, same form factor, same resolution. I was using that for a while. Actually, it was on my desk, but I took it away because I needed to build this desk. I really did like that ultra wide screen, but it's 40 inches, so you get more vertical height. Whereas normally 40, like those 34-inch widescreens are very narrow. They're like tiny. Whereas if you get a 4K version of it, you get a lot more height when they're 40 inches up here. And it's the same height as a 32-inch monitor. So it's on my buy list. It's a really nice monitor from what I understand. I've been thinking about it because I think it has VSync, FreeSync, and maybe G-Sync, whereas the one that I had didn't. Eagerly waiting for the review. Yeah, that'll be out this weekend. The 5i Pro, if not sooner. You know some things about you. Yeah, I do, man. About Iran. I know a lot about Iran. My partner is Iranian, so technically half my family is Iranian. There's not many of them in the country, but why is our frame rate so low? Oh, I have to enable one more thing. Chris, 2022 1600p. Yeah, I am. I sometimes rip on Asus, but the G14 screens have been. Why is that? Have been quite nice actually. I must have missed it. They went with the nebulous. Now they're like praising OLED and and they're like abandoning their IPS stuff. But their IPS stuff was always kind of good on the G14 since 2022. 2022 and 2023 were very good. Why are these not on the screen? Oh, there they are. They appeared. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can. So the specs here, I got a 13900 non-K that I stole from this mini PC, small form factors, because I'm doing a review series on small factor cases and low profile GPUs like this. So this tiny little piece of turdlet it's actually a really cool system, had a 13900, which I was insane to, so I took that out, that went in here, and this will get something else. So that's a salvaged CPU. The GPU here I found on a local store for 1,000 Canadian dollars. It's a ROG Strix OC 4080, their top model. I got it for 1,000 Canadian dollars, which is about 600 American, which is robbery. 64 gigabytes of RAM, not super fast RAM, but it's stable RAM. It actually came from one of those mini PCs. I'll get it up to 5600 megahertz eventually when I actually do that. MSI motherboard Pro Z790-P with 4 NVMe's. Very good motherboard. Not super expensive, but it'll be good. AK620 cooler, which I think is the best bang for your buck. It's kind of able to handle the 13900. We were getting a little bit of throttling, but the scores were super high, so it was doing well. What else? We got tons of NVMe's in here. The case is a Fractal Pop Air RGB model. The Fractal Pop, I didn't hook up the RGB, I forgot. The Fractal Pop Air is my favorite case in terms of being a small case and also a good case because you get tons of spots for SSDs, tons of spots for hard drives. You can put 144 millimeter fans in the front, which I will do. and you can put an AIO in the top or the front if you want. And it looks cool. It comes in white too. I'm a white electronics kind of guy, but because the GPU is black, I decided to build a black. I'm going to be selling this to someone locally, so. Oh, look at that frame rate. Look at that 1 FPS. Isn't that just fun? That might be a NVIDIA driver thing. 1 FPS is a bit low, friends. Here, let me restart the system because it did 4 million updates. Dell versus Asus IPS. Probably Asus. Dell has nice screens, but they also put on bad screens. They have both. Asus just has good screens, generally speaking. So I don't know why they kind of like got away from. OLEDs are good too, but Asus generally has good screens, I would say. They also make good speakers, yes. Dope speakers. And thanks for the compliment, Burbanana, who I talk to in the comments all the time. But I've never said your name out loud. And Deepak, thanks for the reply. India, from India. Yeah, man, I have a lot of Indian viewers, actually. I think my third highest viewership is India. USA, Canada, and India being third. Indian people are cool because they also use my affiliate links for the stuff they buy, which helps me a lot because I have no sponsors and I buy everything. So it's very useful. All right, MSI. I feel like that was just a driver issue. I did update the drivers, but I forgot to restart the computer. So I really hope that this is not a GPU VRAM issue, like bad VRAM. That could be bad VRAM, but it's very preliminary. Let's try. This will be also a downloaded one, so it's not going to have a good save, but whatever, it's fine. If this doesn't work, I'll just install Steam and I'll just play the games properly because I'll have like saves and stuff and the games will be updated. These are just like old downloaded versions I used to test stuff. So they're like really outdated. What else we got here? And you're on the G14, G16 models came with what? Upgradable RAM? Really? Oh, I think they're the refreshes. They're the refreshes, yeah. The clock is less than 6400. What do you think? 6400 is fast, man. That's really fast. I wouldn't worry about that. I think you mean like you can buy more RAM from them. That's fast. I mean, 4800 megahertz RAM, even that's fine. It's the faster RAM is more important as that just didn't load the game. Faster RAM is more important as you get when you're running an iGPU. There it is. Because the iGPU will really benefit from faster memory. On a CPU, it does help, but you'd be surprised. It probably won't make a big difference. India has a big tech industry and a lot of tech people. Like the average person is like more into tech there than probably here. I'm speaking from a bit of a bias, but they have a lot of like tech YouTube, tech people. A lot of the students who come over here are like really like pretty knowledgeable about tech. Maybe not like, you know, way into it, but like above average, I would say. Indians are above average with tech awareness compared to Canadians, at least. Yeah, the CC, it is actually the CNC chassis. Yeah. Yeah, I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it's if you're talking about the refresh 2023 chassis or the 2024. Clearing me too. Why is it covered all the time? Yeah, anti-industry. I just want more than 1 FPS. And it's not looking good. That hang up there might have been a VRAM issue, might have been a driver issue. So we'll just run this and hope for the best. Graphics, 1080p, where did that go? No. 1440p for now, because that's what the screen does. Okay. And PC specification presets, we'll just prioritize graphics, no ray tracing for now. and we'll make sure the GPU works. Again, this is a really old version of the game. I'd have to load up my Steam to get the new saves, which I might have to do because these are super old versions of these games. Normally when I benchmark a laptop, I install Steam, I do all the stuff, and then I have my fresh saves that are way further in the game, fresh updates and that. What in your opinion with tech hardware getting more boring in terms of advancement? Monitors are getting interesting. Laptops are actually getting interesting again. Probably desktops. Honestly, probably desktops. Not that there's like stagnation overall in desktops, like there's some cool stuff, but there's nothing like new. It's just like it's better now. Like the X3D stuff from AMD is really good. Yeah, the game's working fine. The X3D stuff from AMD is really cool. NVIDIA, Intel. So I both hate and love Intel. I love Intel because of what they're doing for GPUs, and I strongly support their message. And I have an Intel GPU. I have 3 of them, and I use them all the time. But in the CPU space, they're like, I don't know what the hell they're doing over there. This is an Intel CPU, which is funny. Specifically in laptops is what I want to say. And then all of a sudden Intel is like, yeah, we also now have Core Ultra CPUs and laptops, which are sick. And they have really good iGPUs. So every time I get like kind of caught up with like, things are boring, nothing's happening, then one of the companies, NVIDIA, AMD, Intel, or all of them are just like, let's do something cool. Intel now has good integrated graphics, which is sick. They have awesome desktop graphics, which still have problems, but it's interesting that they have it. AMD has the X3D chips. They have good general desktop GPUs, nothing interesting. And NVIDIA is just kind of NVIDIA. They don't really do anything interesting. They just kind of do it well. So now it's working. Can you guys see the FPS? 206 FPS in this game on 1440p, basically max. No ray tracing, which I think I can turn on. GPU power at 100 watts. That's probably the integrated graphics. That's CPU, actually, is what it is. It's just labeled wrong. GPU, the 4080 is getting 300 watts, 322 watts. Only 14% usage on that 13900. That's not surprising. CPU temperature is at 64, so this is keeping it cool. And for some reason, the GPU temp didn't come up. I might have missed it. It's going to be low, but the comments don't seem to be updating. There you go. All right, let's go back here and check one more. I just want to check the GPU temps. I think we're cooking though. It didn't that Ratchet and Clank was ancient. That was when the game came out. I put it on this SSD from like a download. I'd have to go back and get my Steam save to have it like proper. I'm like, you guys can do whatever you want with downloading games. I'm not your parent. But for my YouTube channel, I buy the games. But I also do have like this old SSD full of like the same games downloaded for testing purposes, and they're just ancient images. I don't see GPU temperature here. GPU 1 is not right. It's GPU 1. You can turn that off. Oh, I just missed it. Yeah, there it is. I didn't turn it on in the actual display. There we go. I'm gonna have to get my this is a 4K card. We're doing 1440p. What are we at? What are we, noobs? I have a 4K screen, but it's not. I'm going to review it. It's off camera. I actually have a 4K ultra wide screen. It's only 75 hertz, but that thing will push this GPU. Actually, the 7900 was able to, in some cases, beat this at 4K ultra wide, mind you, because of the VRAM was crazy on that. In like Hogwarts and games that are big VRAM hogs, because it got above 16 gigabytes. We're only using 5 gigabytes of VRAM. So this is looking good. I think we're done here. I got a system working. The only thing that I bought new was open box was the 4080. Good price on that. It's running nice and cool at 64 degrees. That's good. CPU at 60. It's open right now. But to be honest, it might even be cooler if it's closed because it'll move temperatures through. CPU is good. Salvaged CPU, salvaged RAM. The only new things in this system really are actually the case and the motherboard. And is that it? Yeah, the case and the motherboard. Everything else is salvaged. The fans came with the motherboard. The GPU was an open box return. The CPU is from another system. The RAM's from another system. The SSDs are from another system. What else is in the system? That's it. That's everything. So you can build a nice system. The GPUs are what are going to kill you. AMD has some really good prices on CPUs these days, 7600. Intel's dropped prices like today. I've actually seen some really good prices on 12th gen, 13th gen. 14th gen's not cheap, but 13 and 12th gen are good. Motherboards are slightly going down. RAM is very expensive and storage is very expensive. That's where we're going to run into problems for you guys if you're building. RAM is up a lot. It's a lot. So you got to get that stuff secondhand if you can. If you have a good used market locally, get your RAM secondhand. Coolers you can get secondhand, usually pretty easily. They're usually fine. SSDs are kind of hit and miss. I don't know if I'd buy that secondhand. Power supplies, probably not, but they're on sale all the time. And GPUs, I personally am an advocate for buying used GPUs now that the mining craze is over. If you're getting like a pretty modern GPU, that's maybe just a few months old off someone or something like that, you can probably get a pretty good GPU for a decent price, and it probably hasn't been mined to shit. I think these 2 years of Lenovo growth, now they are creative. Yeah, Lenovo has come along. Lenovo is doing the most interesting stuff. The G14, G16 from Asus are interesting. They're just overpriced, but they are interesting. MSI is kind of doing the same stuff over and over again, which is fine. Same with Gigabyte. It works. They're kind of just taking up most of the lower cost market. Asus makes cool stuff, but it's too expensive, but they do make cool stuff. I will give them that. But Lenovo is keeping their prices down, but also making really cool stuff. I don't know how they do it. Maybe just because they're such a big company, they're the biggest. I have no clue how they keep their prices down. They probably make just a little bit of money, but they sell huge volumes of stuff. So this is running great though. So that's it, I guess. Yeah. I'm going to have to get my 4K screen out and test this later, but that was cool. I'm happy you guys stuck around for this build. I talked a lot. It was like 3 hours long. It kept me entertained because otherwise I just kind of turn into a turtle and build a computer on my own. I've never streamed before, so that's really cool. So thanks for tuning in. That's my system now. I'm going to be selling to someone locally. I might use it for a little while because I have some reviews that I need to do on some SSDs and stuff that I was sent from different companies and some components that I need a desktop for. And I was really hesitant on testing them in something like this because that's not really fair because it's so small. So I'm probably going to use this for maybe a couple weeks and then someone's going to get a really cool computer. So yeah, Khuda Hafiz, Moshen, thanks for joining us. Very enjoyable. I think what am I having for dinner? I don't know actually. Actually, Moshen probably knows. I'm going to make probably ghormeh sabzi, which is a Persian stew, green stew, kind of like a curry, I guess, if you're Indian, like a liquidy stew, kind of like a curry. It's made with fenugreek, spinach. It's very green, and it used turmeric in it. It's a very strange looking food, but it's very good. And use turmeric. I use fake meat, but you can make it with Impossible Burger, mushrooms, turmeric, lemon, a little bit of lemon. It's got a little bit of zest, and you eat it with raw onions. It would be like a curry, I guess. Like most people would think of it as like a curry, but it's not spicy or anything like that. It's very savory, I guess I'd say. It's like if you're Persian, you know ghormeh sabzi. I'll put it that way. Just gonna go like that so you can see. Gourmet means like gourmet, and sabzi means greens. So think of it as like a green curry, greens curry, like vegetable curry. They often use lamb in Iran. I don't. I'm a vegetarian. You can also use beef, but I use Impossible Burger. It's really nice. I use a lot of Impossible Burger in my stuff. I don't know if you guys get Impossible Burger in Iran, but you should try it. It's actually really good. I highly doubt you can get it in Iran, but if you can, try it in your ghormeh sabzi. Fry it up like normal beef, ground, and put it in your ghormeh sabzi with mushrooms. Put very thinly diced mushrooms into your ghormeh sabzi. Fry them with the onions at the beginning. Lots of mushrooms, a whole package, like a container, and it will thicken the ghormeh sabzi, make it a little bit thicker because of the mushroom, and make it a little bit more rich on the spoon when you're eating it. Now we're doing cooking Iranian food with Beau on stream. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for that. It was very enjoyable. Thanks for hanging out. Moshen, if you want to chill on the channel, cool. I also have a Discord. You can find that in the Discord and hang out there too as well. So yeah, Chef Beau. I'm the cook in the family, so I cook a lot, and I cook a lot of Persian food. So take care. Talk to you later, guys.